It's nice to be on this side. First item will be called to order. When I say your name, please say here, present. Tracy Wickett. Here. Eva Garcia. Here. Rose M.C. Gowan, M.D. Here. Mark Horowitz.
Here.
Cesar Lopez.
Here.
Murad Abu Salim.
Here.
Sergio Martinez.
Here.
Perfect, thank you. Our item 2 will be signing of the oath of office and statement of appointment for the following BCIC board members. Yeah. Okay.
If we can have Eva, Dr. Gowan, and Mark stand up. Yeah, okay, so we're just make sure you turn on the mics.
There you go.
They can hear it.
All right, in behind your agenda packet, you will have your oath of office form. If you can please pull that one out. If you all can repeat after me once you all are ready. All right. I state your name.
Rose Gowan.
Do solemnly affirm that I will faithfully execute the duties as a member of the Bronzeville Community Improvement Corporation of the City of Bronzeville, Cameron County of the State of Texas, and will do my best of my ability to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States of this state, so God help me. Please sign.
Thank you.
I will stop by and collect your forms so I can notarize them. All right, and then the second form will be your statement of appointment officer. Again, repeat after me. I do solemnly affirm that I have not directly or indirectly paid, offered, promised to pay, contributed, or promised to contribute any money or things of value, or promised any public office or employment as a reward to secure my appointment or confirmation thereof, so help me God. Please sign. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I will stop by to pick up the form so that way I can sign and notarize them as well. Item number 3 on the agenda is selection of officers for A, chair, B, vice chair, C, secretary, D, treasury.
Ready to accept nominations for chair?
I move with nominating Cesar Lopez as a chair, Mark Horowitz as vice chair, and Sergio Martinez as secretary. I keep the treasury nomination for somebody else to nominate.
Second.
So is that a nomination or a motion?
Nomination.
It's a nomination, so if there are other nominations, you can.
Are there other nominations?
Yeah, I want to make a nomination. I want to nominate Dr. Gowan as chair. That's what I have.
As chair. How about we start off with the chair and then we can move our way down? And then, but if that's okay, we can start off with the nomination for Cesar and a nomination for Rose. Is there any discussion?
Do we vote like we're?
Do you all want to have a discussion before we vote? Okay, so.
We accept the nominations, right?
So I'm going to take votes for Cesar.
How are we doing this?
So the nominations were for Cesar and Rose. So now that there was no discussion, so now we're going to take a vote. So all those in favor say aye for Cesar. No? How should I do this?
That's fine, just has to be clear if you're asking people to vote for one of the people, or if, since you have 2 nominations, which of the 2 people
Oh, I see.
We'll go one by one with who we're voting.
Okay.
It's by motion, correct?
Okay,
It's
so,
technically an election, so two different people have been nominated for that position.
all right, so just to clarify, there has been two different motions, one for 3 officers and one for 1. So do I need to back my motion and update it, or
It's,
it's not necessary? I'm just trying to be clear about that. Because I had 3 nominations and he had 1, so do I need to?
and what?
Right, and I clarified so that this would just be the chair, and then we can move
Okay.
down.
So I update or revise my motion to nominate Cesar Lopez for chair.
There have been nominations of two different
Okay.
people for that office. It's an election.
Okay.
Okay, so I will move, I'll do like a roll call, or
Yeah.
I'll vote by vote. Okay, so Eva,
Roll- Yeah. I vote for Rose Gowan.
Can you turn on your microphone and say that again, please?
I vote for Dr. Rose Gowan for chair.
do I include my vote and then, or do I skip myself and then go to the end?
You can vote at the end.
Okay, Tracy.
Cesar? I left your mic on.
Myself as well.
Cesar.
Rose.
Myself.
Rose. So chair is now Rose Gowan. I will pass the gavel to her. Or, I mean, do I continue on with this, with the election for the other seats? Yeah, I
He
did.
did.
Voted for Rose. It was just election.
So, I'm sorry, it's 4 votes in favor of Rose. Rose Gowan, she is now the chair of BCIC. Congratulations, Rose.
Can I nominate Cesar Lopez for vice chair?
So moved, is there a,
I second that.
okay, are there any other nominees for vice chair? Or do I continue on as chair even though, help me clear.
You, it's not as if it's wrong. You can certainly.
Keep going, Mark.
Okay,
There you go.
You have permission to keep
Okay.
going.
I will finish this item. All right. So are there any other nominations for vice chair? Okay, can I get just a up and down vote for Cesar? All in favor, say aye.
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 Congratulations, Cesar, you're now vice chair. Okay, can I get any nominations for secretary?
I nominate Sergio for secretary.
I second the motion. I second the motion, Eva.
And any other nominations? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Can I get nominations for treasurer?
I nominate Murad for treasurer.
Any other nominations? All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. Thank you all. Congratulations. I hand this over to you now, Rose.
Congratulations. No, we'll go next to public comment.
All right, non-agenda items, kindly submit a public comment form stating the items of public concern that you wish to speak to an hour before the start of the scheduled meeting with the BCIC staff. Forms are not reserved for anyone, nor may time be deferred to anyone. PowerPoint presentations may not be accommodated. This period is limited to 5 speakers with a time limit of 3 minutes per speaker. The form can be requested by calling the Brownsville Community Improvement Corporation office or in person at the meeting. Agenda items, kindly submit a public comment form stating which items on the agenda that you wish to speak to an hour before the start of the scheduled meeting time with BCIC staff. Speakers will be allowed to address the BCIC board on the agenda items before it is to be considered. The speaker is limited to 3 minutes. The time limits. The BCIC board shall have the discretion to modify its regulations regarding time limits on public comment if necessary. For example, the time limit may be shortened to accommodate the lengthy agenda, or it can be lengthened to allow additional time for discussion on a complicated matter or if an interpreter is needed. We do have 2 public comment submissions. The first one would be Mr. Martin Cavazos. If you can please step up. Yes.
Hello. Good afternoon, esteemed board members of the Brownsville Community Improvement Corporation. My name is Martin Cavazos. I am a proud Marine Corps veteran, entrepreneur, and lifelong resident of our beautiful community. Today, I stand before you to express my gratitude for programs like BIG and to share my project is aligned with the mission and vision of BCIC. As the owner of Whisketto, an upscale whiskey cocktail bar, I have dedicated myself to creating a space that embodies two key values: exceptional customer service and the art of connection. Expanding into historical downtown Brownsville, it's not just a business decision, it's a commitment to being part of the economic and cultural revival of this historic area. In addition to opening Whisketto, I am in active negotiations to utilize the building's second floor as potential low-income housing in the future, further reinforcing my commitment to serving this community. This project is more than just business. It's about creating a space that contributes to both the economic vitality and the social fabric of Brownsville. The BIG program is designed to support efforts like mine, rehabilitating historic spaces, activating unused properties, and fostering economic growth while preserving downtown's unique character. My project will directly align with these goals by attracting visitors, reducing vacancies, by creating jobs, all while providing an accessible and welcoming space for our community. I am particularly excited about the recent discussions to reactivate the Main Street program in Brownsville, Texas. As you know, this nationally recognized program dedicates to fostering economic growth, aesthetic enhancement, and historical preservation of downtown districts. Its 4 pillars, economic vitality, design, promotion, and organization, are perfectly aligned with the visions I have for Whisketto and the broader revitalization of our downtown area. The Main Street program proven principles will further amplify the impact of my project, and I am eager to contribute its implementation to Brownsville. Together, we can create a downtown that's not only economic thriving, but also culturally rich and historically preserved. I ask for your trust and support in granting Whisketto the resources needed to bring this vision to life. Together, we can honor our city's history while ensuring its growth and vitality for generations to come. Thank you for your time, dedication, and commitment to our community. I am proud to stand alongside you in shaping the brighter future of Brownsville. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cavazos. Our second public comment registration comes from Steve Perez.
Good afternoon. My name's Steve Perez, and today's just a public comment. In the next 10 months, we're going to be flooded with AI agents, digital employees, via email, phone, many different modes. You can call them whatever you want. And these digital employees are actually going to work for $1 an hour, which is kind of scary. However, for a few months, side by side, humans will be boosting production and creating, wealth, but sooner or later, some jobs will be obsolete, and that obviously worries me. In fact, this era has already started. For example, the city of Brownsville was declared a smart city. That's good. On top of that, we were labeled a tech hub. I like it. And on top of this, we have fiber optics. I think there's 3 rings. It might be 5. You can, correct me later. But the 5G is going to allow all these humanoids and bots, and it's coming. We can't stop it. This AI tech buildup, either we accept it or, wither away, right? But I do believe that we can join this type of club. We have the technology here in the city. We can embrace it, we can accept it, and we want to build it up. As part of the eBridge community, which I include myself because I'm a local entrepreneur, we need to be able to blend all this tech. Because the fiber optic, believe it or not, just a little tweak and gives you 301 terabytes. That's insane. 301 tera. I didn't say 1 gigabyte or megabyte. I said tera with a T. and we have this. However, some of the jobs that will be displaced, especially, I'm in that club as well, right, 50-plus years, we're going to be looking for ways to get reskill, and that could be with VR, AR, XR, and AI. So we want to be able to create this AI Tech Club with the existing digital center, which is your data center. So here's the declaration. On February 7th, we're going to be organizing the AI Tech Club that will focus on wealth creation initiatives through this digital center, and we do invite young entrepreneurs. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pettis. Consent agenda items, all items are considered to be routine.
Before you go on, I have a
I'm sorry.
question for legal. And these gentlemen were wonderful, but I believe there are rules about public comment about how you may or may not behave in terms of attacking an individual person on the board, or wearing, displaying T-shirts and holding banners and such, and being insulting to anyone here. Is that, if it's not listed in your public comment section, does that mean they can behave as they wish? Or at the city, we describe the behaviors that are prohibited before public comment begins. I'm wondering if that would be appropriate in this setting as well.
The information on the agenda reflects the current policy of BCIC. I think what you're suggesting is a revision to that policy, which staff can certainly consider, and it can be on the next.
Yeah, that's fine. I would like you to
We
consider
usually
that.
follow what the city's protocol is, so we can just update ours.
Thank you.
All right, item number 5, consent agenda items. All items are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. If requested by a board member, any items may be taken off the consent agenda by the chair for individual consideration. Item 5.1, approval of the meeting minutes. A, meeting minutes of November 25, 2024. B, meeting minutes of December 16, 2024. Item 5.2, approval of the accounts payable report. A, account payable report from November 1st, 2024 through November 30th, 2024. B, accounts payable report from December 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2024. And item 5.3, consideration and action, approve the fiscal year 2025 administrative services agreement with the City of Bronzeville in the amount of $24,000 as budgeted.
To approve? So moved. All in favor?
Aye.
Next item.
Item number 6 is BCIC staff report. A, Entrepreneurship and Innovation Division update by Nathan Burkhart, Vice President of Entrepreneurship and Innovation.
Good afternoon, board members. I'll make this as brief as I can. I know we got 4 other reports and then 7 other action items, but I just wanted to give you all a brief update on all of our programs. But to our 2 new board members, I oversee Entrepreneurship and Innovation department within BCIC. There's financing, there's marketing, there's quality of life. So strictly all the programs and kind of partnerships that involve the eBridge Center and all the kind of entrepreneurship outreach that we do. So first is our Startup Texas program. This is a program we started 5 years ago as a seed fund and has morphed into an accelerator program the last 2 years. We are getting, this February 6th, if y'all can make it on Thursday, it's our pitch competition for the cohort that was funded entirely by the US EDA. We're still awaiting that drawdown. It is part of that freeze that we all saw last week. Luckily, I was in Austin last week for Brownsville Day, and I got to speak directly with the EDA about that, so we're in constant communication with them on the status of that grant. That was a $1.2 million grant that we're still hoping comes our way. We are switching this pitch competition. It used to be in what I said, a competition where they would all compete against each other for funding. This go around, as we'll discuss in one of the later agenda items, we're going to go ahead and have a single pile of grant funding available to all the graduates, rather than kind of putting them through a gauntlet to compete against each other. They each have an equal opportunity to receive the same amount of funding, specifically for their prototyping. And we just closed our applications on Saturday. We had a little over 20 apply. If we're going through those applications, we'll be notifying those that got accepted by tomorrow. Our Frontera Leadership Institute started on Friday. This is still undergoing our pilot program. We noticed that all of the programs that we had at eBridge really focused on the 25 to 55-year-old market. We really wanted to capture a younger market and also have them kind of come through our program and start interning with the companies that were being incubated here. This is our second cohort. We had 20 participants on Friday. They start off at Camp Rio, where they actually spend the night and kind of stay overnight and get to know each other really well, and then go through this extensive process. Their demo day will actually take place during startup week, so when they'll be graduating that first week of May. This is our Blueprint Business Program, and I'm sorry, I think kind of the graphics got a little bit messed up, but we've had 6 cohorts that have already undergone the program. It's usually about 15 per cohort. We had 79 graduates since October. This is our kind of core program that focuses on those that have like at that ideation level of a business where, hey, I want to sell something at the farmer's market, but I really don't know even where to start. So they go through the program, they get assistance with their business plan, financials, projections, the works. A lot of the graduates from this program end up usually going into our Startup Texas program, and then from there either get funding or even scale up with our eBridge fund as well, which I'll let Victoria talk about. We just finished our GitHub certified course and the Bid Academy with Prairie View A&M. This is focused on getting businesses to get government contracts or become successful at bidding on projects, whether it be at the city or county level. It was really, really popular. We had 48 participants go through. It started off with 75, but it's a bit of a rough course. It's Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays every day for about 4 hours. But it was a really great program. We're going to do this again in the summer as well in the fall. It's a free program that Prairie View A&M gives for free for all of the members here at the eBridge Center. We just provide a lunch to those that attend. Startup Week is just around the corner. Instead of last year where it was only Brownsville and Mission, where this time we're expanding the program. Harlingen's going to take the Startup Boot Camp that we used to do. We're also going to partner with McAllen and Mission and Far and Wesco. They're each going to have a day. They're going to share that. But the majority of days will still be here in Brownsville, Monday, Tuesday. Well, actually the entire week, but specifically Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. Our SATOP program is still in full swing. The BCIC was contracted as a partner specifically from Bay Area Houston, so we actually do get paid by the SATOP program. Both Rudy and Samantha have both been working really hard on getting some of our graduates from our programs to apply. It's free engineering hours from Texas A&M, as well as funding through SBIR. Merlion, which is a former Startup Texas graduate, actually went through the program. We've got about 3 others that are pending an application with them right now. Alamo Angels, we started that chapter. We officially announced it at Startup Week last year, but we really started it about October of this year. But kind of coming full circle, we're really excited that one of the tech companies that we incubated here at eBridge actually went and was able to pitch to the program for the first time, both to the San Antonio and RGV membership here. The company's scaling massively. They actually just got invited by Richard Branson to go speak at Necker Island. They've already raised $800,000 in their pre-seed level. It's just really cool to say that about a company that was incubated here in Brownsville. Couple of updates to eBridge. As you notice as you were walking down this hallway, the tiles looking a little mangy. We're going to be changing that. We're going to get some soft washing done. The entire second floor is leased with the exception of 1 dedicated desk. We have 2 that are open, but I just got over the weekend someone's going to be moving in. UTRGV's Intergovernmental Relations just moved in, so I don't know if you saw Ruben Obel, but he's officing out of here as well. And the Blueprint Lab, we're still kind of working on the second floor design and potentially even moving into another space. I'll give everyone a better update on that at the next board meeting. Just a couple great success stories. La Pale, who went through that Blueprint Business Program, went to Startup Texas. She now has all of her, she's got a $2 million deal with HEB. And it's going to potentially grow into something even bigger that I can't speak about just yet. But we're working with GBIC on that as well. So it's kind of like that. They're at the end of the pipeline where we can kind of pass the baton over to GBIC. Amoripan, her chamoy, her organic chamoy sauce is on the shelves of every Central Market in Texas, which is really cool. Those are kind of the successes of our food entrepreneurs. We'll have some more successes regarding our tech entrepreneurs following this next cohort. Space Accelerator program is going really well. Cameron County brought forth Space Foundation to discuss a potential partnership with them. And coming back, it's a very reasonable and affordable program. I think we're going to be moving forward with them. I'll provide you with all with an update. That's going to be specifically in partnership with GBIC as well as the county on putting that program through the eBridge Center. And I'll open it up to questions.
I do have one question. If there is a young entrepreneur that doesn't really know which program they fit into, do they contact you?
Yes, myself, Samantha, anyone at the team, Rudy, we're all kind of familiar. Nelson created a really great pathway of kind of like, where are you in this and kind of what's your next step with kind of our entry-level programs and our accelerator programs and then access to funding. And if you want to move into downtown, it's a really great list. It's still just a lot to take in. So we've been working on sort of like a pathway that you can, if you answer a few questions, it'll guide you into the correct program, but that'll be launching on the new website.
No questions, just a comment. Great work, very impressed, and super happy to hear that there's been so much going on. I'm sure, are you even doing enough? Maybe we need to give
We overstated the ability of our partners to keep up with the demand. UTRGV has been an exceptional partner, but we're at over 35 programs with them. So kind of looking at other partnerships, specifically like our Space Accelerator program, looking at Space Foundation as an option to try to just bring in and to just kind of alleviate the amount. Because even we're swamped as it is, and we're not facilitating the program. UTRGV does the facilitation.
Last question, and I don't know maybe if this is the one. Where are we with the GBIC entrepreneur funding that we had talked about?
We're working on an MOU. Deborah and I have another meeting this week to discuss, but it was approved in their budget, and we're accounting for it in our budget, and I've been talking with Jerry and Gil about it. Hopefully we'll have that for you all as a board approval at the February meeting.
Nathan, how are we going to follow up on the hub participants in terms of their, what the payoff is from their participation?
Yeah, that's a great question. We'll follow up with some surveys. I know a few of them are actually undergoing incubation. They started at the hub certification program. They were given an entire month of incubation following their graduation. Prairie View A&M's also moving in upstairs too, so we'll have kind of a better direct communication with how those applicants are following through. There's some concerns with the federal freeze that specific program will be one that's cut because it's literally designed for historically underutilized businesses and minority businesses. So we'll keep you up to date on that. Okay, thank you all.
Thank you. Item B, we have Community Development Programs Update by Eric Quintero, Community Development Manager.
Good afternoon, everyone. For our two new board members, yes, Eric Quintero, Community Development Manager. I've been here since August. Actually, on Wednesday, it'll be my 7-month anniversary.
Congrats.
So, thank you. I'm going to be presenting a little bit of an update on where we stand for our big and quality of life grants. When okay. So for the microphone. Fantastic. Okay. Y'all gonna see my neck a little bit, but it's okay. For our big grants, at the moment, we have a total of $45.4 million investment into our downtown area. Out of our fiscal year 22, we have out of the 23 projects, we have one left in progress, which is 955 East St. Charles Street. Client has reached out to us, which we'll be taking care of in the coming months. Fiscal year '23, out of the 28 projects that we were able to assist with, we have 4 in progress. At the moment, it's actually 2 because we have one client that will be rescinding, which is 1005 East Levy Street. Solaris will be rescinding the 110,000 that we award them. So that will be turning into 2 projects that are going to be in progress for fiscal year 23, sorry. Fiscal year 24, 17 projects in total. Out of those, we still have 10 in progress. And then for fiscal year 25, I'm glad to say that we had a budget of 800,000. At the moment, we still have 5 in progress, which 6 we have completed. But glad that we have 12 prospects on the board to see what we could process. 3 of those will be for rent, and 9 of them will be for standard or extensive rehab once the applications are submitted. Sorry. 3 for rent and 9 for standard or extensive rehab. The no, the rent is for standard and extensive as well as rent subsidy.
3 programs.
Yes, there are 3 programs under the big program. 3 sub programs, I guess.
And one includes rent. So
Correct. Yes.
okay.
Yeah. So like I said, of those 800,000, we currently have awarded 175,000, with 111 still committed, with 12 prospects for the remainder of the year. Going into the rest of the year, we will be having. We've so far had 3 projects completed. I do apologize. We have the library center, as well as for the Botica Lofts Calacas, where they'll be opening, and then Jolie Petit, obviously, as we all know, very, very good French restaurant. Those 3 were completed. We will have another 2 being completed in the coming months, which will be the Manatú building for Mr. Juan Rocher. He will be finalizing and then being prepared for phase 2 of his project. And then we also have Heron Holly, which is a rental program that will be being finished soon. Of the 3 projects that we have completed, I am pending a final project update, which I will provide to the board at the next meeting, just to hear back from the completed projects to see how it went for them, how their experiences was for the big program. That way we can take that advice to further improve maybe the application, the streamline process, and everything, which is part of what we have for these coming months. I'll be getting with Corey. That way we could revise in the coming months the guidelines for any proposals for changes when it comes to fiscal year 26. I will also be working on the application questions. That way we can get better data to be able to provide to you and be able to be more transparent with the public, such as getting better detailed on number of jobs that are going to be possibly opening, what the pay rates are going to be. That way we have a better idea of what's being done here in the downtown area. Moving on to our quality of life grants. Perfect, thank you guys. So our quality of life grants, last year we awarded 3.3 to 11 projects in total. And we had committed 4.2 million to 9 projects for the city of Brownsville. In these last months, since my last October report, we've had 3 projects completed, 2 of our own, which would be Dean Border Park and the Learning Garden for the Children's Museum. And then the city had their Musco Lights project completed. We do expect 4 projects to be completed by May of 2025, which would be the Good Neighbor project, our Brownsville on the Move by BHA, Moody Clinic, as well as Brownsville Society of Performing Arts.
Just want to make sure that I understand correctly. So for the big grant, and you have fiscal years 22 through 25, and I heard a total of 45.4 million?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then for the quality of life, this is just reflecting fiscal year 2024?
Correct, yes.
So there's no data on 22, 23, or 25, right? Or I guess we're going to get to 25.
Yeah, 25 is going to be the next board meeting. We'll have the quality of life grants. But we can provide you data at the next board meeting of what
22,
we've done,
23,
what we've
yeah.
done in the past from conception, if you like.
Yeah, well, just to match what the big data is showing, I think is more of, to kind of look at it. What's occurred from 22 to 25 with the big grant, and then what's occurred from 22 through 25 for quality of life.
Definitely, thank you.
Just kind of comparing those two things.
Attached into your memo packets, I did attach the quarterly reports that I did receive from some of the organizations. We are still pending 4 to be submitted. I have already reached out to them. We should be getting them within the next 2 weeks before the end. It's already past January, but yeah, they already did let me know that they're working on it. There we go. So,
This is the first time we see that.
Mike.
This is the first time we're seeing that quarterly report come in, so is that gonna be expected now?
it would be every quarter, yeah. So
Okay,
I
because-
did send them out in October as part of it was an acknowledgement.
Management.
Yeah, so every
haven't seen
quarter,
before.
so I did provide on the packet.
Yeah, I saw that.
So,
But just my question is like, from now on, we're gonna start receiving those?
yeah, so it'll be January, April, June, correct. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And can you remind me again how much, I know we haven't finalized like the awarding amounts of quality of life so far, because we're still looking through, but how much has been budgeted for that this year, aside from the city's 3.5?
Aside from the cities? ours is
1.3. 1.3, and then we have additional almost 1.7 set aside for any of our projects that comes out of our strategic plan or sports park.
Thank you for that.
That was actually going to be my next part. For the applications that did end at the midpoint of last month, we did have 18 submissions. Of those 18, we had a total grant amount request of $4.5 million. Staff will be evaluating we'll be evaluating the submissions and scoring based off the guidelines matrix. I did leave on your desks the list of applicants as well as the rubrics that we will be grading them off of. We will be presenting it to you all at the end of this month, the applications and which ones scored the highest and were able to fully be processed.
Just as a reminder, though, those 18 submissions, we're still reviewing if they're eligible under the quality of life before we review them, or I should say score them, the matrix.
And for the upcoming portion of these next few months, I'm going to be working with marketing to do a big program info session in March. That way we can open it to the public, similar how we did the quality of life presentation. I did meet with representatives from 10 different banks last month. Thank you to Nelly, Sam, and Rudy who joined me. We'll be working on a financial literacy summit or presentation of some sort for the public. We discussed various options, whether it be quarterly, monthly, or just do one massive all-day presentation, multiple presentations. So that will be in the works for the remainder of this year. I have also been speaking with local nonprofits on running a potential nonprofit summit as well, for the city of Brownsville specifically.
Just quick question, for the financial literacy, is there a population in general you're targeting, like maybe like a younger
It
generation?
is for
or
all.
is
It's
everybody?
for all.
Okay.
So what the outline is looking to be, it's going to be different kinds of presentations throughout the day. So one tailored towards college students, one tailored to high school students that are going to be graduating, someone trying to open their own business and what it entails as documentation, what they may need. Others maybe talking about credit, savings, housing, different markets. When I did speak with the banks, they are all willing to not make it a sales pitch. They're all looking as if for the betterment of the community.
Will you be meeting with CDCB, who does have a financial literacy program? I would want to know that whatever the banks are recommending go into the curriculum is in keeping with what CDCB currently teaches.
I can reach out to them. Thank you for that comment, yeah. And if you guys know of any other organization that we can keep in the loop, please let me know. The more that we can have included in this, the better. We are definitely up for the partner.
I know through UTRGV, financial aid also has a financial literacy component and like some curriculum that you can reference, and I'll get you that contact as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you both.
The organization that have not submitted quarterly reports, are we following up with them? Are we, I mean, what's the
Yes,
status
yeah,
of
I've
that?
been reaching out either via phone or email.
And, I mean, yeah, but like, what's the plan? What's the
They're
action
working
plan?
on getting either final statements, final documentation, they're putting everything together before they send it in. It's really, the ones pending is IDEA, Brownsville Side Performing Arts, which will be closing out this next month. Brownsville Wellness Coalition, who I did speak to last Thursday, they'll be getting it to me this week. And down by the border, Mr. Sarate, I am still pending a response from him. He's the only one I've been pending. But yeah, as far as following up and attempts, they have been done.
But, I mean, I guess if they don't follow up and provide the reports, there would be consequences, right? That's my question. Like, how do we have that in plan and action?
We can have, if they don't submit their quarterly reports, we can hold on to their reimbursement until they submit those quarterly reports.
Right. I think just the message need to be clear and no surprise to anybody, right? Like, we need these by certain dates.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there would be consequences for it, right?
Yes, sir.
And it's not like to hold anybody, what's like to jeopardize their progress. It's just to make sure.
Just everybody
Give them
being
away,
held
like,
accountable.
It's a
Yeah.
serious thing, and we need it, rather than, and also to help them actually start, offering these reports on timely manner.
We
Yes,
do
sir.
the same thing with hot tax funds at the city. If you don't submit your documentation, your reports, the hot tax funds are held.
I think it's a good way just to keep everybody.
Accountable.
Right, make it streamline it a little bit. Oh, yes,
That's great.
definitely, yeah.
Real quick, nonprofit summit, what's your vision for that?
Similar to the one that we went to in Harlingen. It was really just a lot of organizations, more of a getting to know each other, having a keynote presenter, talking to them about what's available within the state. That was a real big eye-opener when we went to the summit. There's a lot of funds out there that aren't being utilized, and a lot of those funds aren't being connected to the organizations. A lot of organizations don't know who to reach out to, who to speak with. Similar to, I think, how you and I have spoken to in the past for the Library Center. I'm not sure where we spoke about it, but it was how can we make that connection of what the state has and these organizations that need the assistance. And this is that idea. There's a lot of organizations that maybe can work together that don't know each other. So the idea is just to make the connection between everybody, make sure everyone knows who and what is available from the city, from the university, different organizations that we have within the city that can give back to the nonprofit organizations in Brownsville.
And just out of curiosity, who was the keynote in Harlingen? Keynote speaker?
I do have that in my email. I can't remember off the top of my head. This was 5 months ago.
Yeah.
It was
But just, we would have partners and collaborators.
Of course.
So UTRGV's nonprofit resource center, they just moved into the Lucena House. So they would be definitely a partner with us, because they're the ones that actually put in the one in Harlingen, and that was valley-wide. And so we just want to scale that down to be Brownsville-focused.
TSC also have done a couple of these meetings in the past 3 years or so.
Oh.
Thank you.
And they're very active. They do it actually, I think, twice a year.
Nice.
You might want to reach out to them.
Yes, definitely.
Also
Thank you.
and see if they have at least a database or just help you coordinate and reach out, whatever, right? So UTRGV, TSC, both resources will be lessen the burden on you trying to communicate with all of them.
Cool. Thank you.
And maybe we can use some of their venues to host it.
Just real quick, I'm a big supporter of this. I've always felt that nonprofits need as much support as they can. Where would you envision you host this? Would this be in A-Bridge or?
I think it depends on the size,
Depends on the size.
size of it.
Yeah.
'Cause I
Yeah.
mean, I would
Yeah.
think if it's large enough, the Brownsville Event Center or somewhere that can host that type of, if we have breakouts, it all depends on where that vision heads down to.
I don't think you need that much of a large space. I mean, as I said, I've been to these meetings. It's not like you need to have a large space.
Yeah.
The number of organizations and their representatives, you could accommodate it here or in a medium size. So the space is not an issue, it's just getting to reach out and have them, come in and hopefully have a start. And make it a regular meeting, not just once every,
Sure.
make it every 6 months or whatever, so we can see progress, we can.
Set a
see
precedence that way.
Right, so it become like a standard meeting
Definitely.
every year.
I definitely agree with the reoccurring of this opportunity for our nonprofits, but it sounds like there may need to be some curriculum regarding reporting or best practices for the funders. Obviously, we're talking about the reporting mechanisms of who we help fund, and so ensuring that that's part of the curriculum for this type of summit would be helpful.
The next thing that I will be working on throughout this year would be a small business job fair. When I first came on board, I told Corey this was a big passion for me. I know that there's job fairs that do happen throughout the city, but this is more for something for the actual small business. Businesses that are less than 100 employees, not, the large scale companies that come and hire and then send people to work out of the county, out of the city limits. This is more something, small businesses, to keep the money local and, keep the economy going. That I'll be reaching out to workforce to work towards hopefully the end of this quarter, not this quarter, the end of the fiscal year. And then the last thing would be Space Fest. GPIC did reach out to us. They are asking us to be in partnership with them, the city, and a couple other organizations. So more on that to come during Corey's presentation. But that is part of the things that I will be taking on in these coming months.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Can I make just a general comment about presentation? And this is not just to pick on you, but I would say whenever there is data presented in a table, if it can be made into a graph, I'd prefer that. I think presentation-wise, it's a lot easier for us to consume general, and I don't need the details, I don't need down to the last dollar, or I just need trends over time. So for example, with FY24 big program, I want to know how much we committed, when, right? And then how much has been spent, right? Until those two, we've expended all of it. Because and this, not just this, is the financials as well. It's everywhere where we have data. I would much rather see graphs over time. And like for the quarterly reports, the quarterly project reports, I feel like that one's ripe for, I don't necessarily need to see every single report. I need to see just maybe that can be condensed into, that could probably be condensed into a table. But I don't necessarily need to see it all. I just need to see where are the red flags. What are the red flags? Bring those to our attention. And because then that'll help us make decisions. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah.
I feel like it would be much easier if it was for us, if there was, the packets were a lot smaller, the presentations were a lot smaller. Just not to belabor the point, because we're gonna go into the financials, but there's now there's 2 financial reports. They're duplicates essentially. So less is more in this case. So. Thank you. You were the first one that came up, so that's why.
I was the lucky one.
No,
I think a few months ago, last year, Nelson, you did something, and we were very, very happy with that. And I know what happened, why we lost that template, because it was basically what Mark is talking about, and I see it in the next item is coming, something of that sort, where we had the highlights of each. And we had it, so I know maybe you got overwhelmed, but it would be great to go back to that format at least and start using it as the overall. And then if we need to dig into the detail, we have it, right? We have it in the back. I guess that's what Mark is saying, right? We have the details. Yes, we need to. those, the e-bridge thing. That was easy to see, easy to follow, okay, understand it, and move on. But
Yes.
thank you very much, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
That's good.
Oh, we have finance. Finance programs Q1 update, Victoria Padron, COO.
Okay, so, good afternoon, my name is Victoria. So today I'll be presenting the financing programs report for Q1, and it's just as of as of December 31st, 2024. So before I start, I do want to provide an update, a program overview for the new board members. So for the eBridge Fund, the eBridge Fund is a revolving loan fund. So back in 2022, we received a grant from the EDA to administer and capitalize this program. We created the eBridge Fund, which is a small business loan for the small businesses located within Cameron County. So the difference between us and any other bank or financial institution is that we are required to offer lower interest rates, and the goal of the program is job creation and job retention. So for the eBridge Fund, right now we funded a total of 17 businesses. We've disbursed $2.4 million in loans. We have 1.7 in private investment. We've created, it has helped in create 563 jobs. Right now we have an available funding of $699,382, and this comes from principal payments. And we've generated an income of $192,898. And right now we have 2 applications in progress. Do you have any questions in regards to the first program?
You said it was starting in 2022?
Yes, we received the fund in 2022.
But you also, maybe you want to highlight the fact that for a while, we had struggled funding projects, right?
Yeah.
And then somehow, some magic happened.
Yeah.
And finally, we were able to allow. Can you elaborate a little bit of what was the holdup and how you fixed that issue?
You mean on for the eBridge Fund?
Yes.
I'm sorry, can you?
No, like the amount that we were struggling funding.
Okay,
projects.
so the grant was for $2 million. Okay, so right now we're in the revolving loan phase, meaning that it's self-sustainable. So we have 600, like I mentioned, 699 available for lending, and it all came from principal payments. So right now, all of the loans are in good standing, they're all performing well. And yeah, so that's it for the eBridge Fund. So we have now the Recovery Fund. So the Recovery Fund, this is a program that we participated with the city grants department. We created the Recovery Fund. Back then it was named the Reopen for Business Assistance Program. And the first grant we received $500,000, and it was back in 2021. Then we received the second grant for $581,000. This program is specifically for businesses that were affected by the pandemic. Businesses must be located in Brownsville, and they must be able to demonstrate that they had loss during the pandemic. So year to date, we funded $900,000. We've helped 96 businesses. 447 jobs have been created. 181. Right now, we have 181,667 available in funds, and we have 2 applications in progress, which will be presented later on. And then these are my numbers. Questions?
I know this is one you worked a lot on last year, right? Because we felt that there could have been more applications, and then through marketing and working with your teams, we were able to increase that. Where do we stand on marketing for that?
So we're hosting an info session next week on Monday. We hosted one back in November, or was it in October, November of last year, and we had a very good number of applications come in, but not all of them were eligible. But hopefully this next info session will bring more, and we can finally be able to fund all the remaining of the funds.
You said these funds were related to COVID?
Yes, ma'am.
So do they run out? In other words, how much longer in the future will they subsidize something that happened years ago?
Oh, we have, according to the city grants department, we have until the end of this fiscal year to finish the funds.
And then once the funds, if for whatever reason there is some remaining balance, does it have to be returned?
We can renew the
Oh,
contract.
Okay.
We can make an amendment and it can extend.
Victoria, can you also let them know about, since it is HUD funds, that it's part of what happened last week?
So I did reach out to the city grants department, and they did clarify that we won't be affected. This program specifically won't be affected, since it's reimbursement based. So how it works is we fund the business and then we request for reimbursement from the city grants department. So they have the funds, so it won't be affected as of right now. So the plan is to finish the funds fast, right?
Thank you, Victoria.
Thank you.
Item D, Marketing and Communications Q1 Update, Nelson Amaro, Director of Marketing and Communications.
Hello, again. This is a great time to jump in since we're going to be talking about everything that we've done marketing-wise in the last quarter. And last time we met, first, my name is Nelson Amaro. Nice to meet you. And Eva was there. And my job here is to tell the story of what we do, how we do it, why we do it, and most importantly, for who we do it for, and that being the community of Brownsville. And we tell those stories through all these channels that we have here. We have 29 channels where we communicate our message. The one on yellow, number 22, is the newest one. After the last meeting that we had, I added that one. And hopefully we don't add any more. We just stay with those so we don't have more work to do on multiple platforms, right? But these are all the platforms where the messages go out. All the social media, basically, plus traditional media. We're exploring direct mail, so you might get a postcard soon, and also on the radio soon as well. The goal for this year is to increase the audiences in all social media platforms by 20%. Out of those, a third already reached their goal, and some other ones are pretty close, so we're getting there. Last time we spoke to you, I mentioned these 6 events or happenings that were gonna be on the horizon of BCIC. Out of those 6, we did 5. One of them is still in the works, but still, not only that happened, we expanded some of the programs. And for instance, the Let's Talk About Money info session that Victoria did expanded into Eric's programs, and it's also an info session on which we explain what the quality of life grants were and how it impacted the community. And well, you will see the impact of those promotions and the number of applicants that we got. Last week, we were at ICSC in Dallas, and I was super concerned and worried that most of the people that reached out to us are going to talk about division and fear and politics and border issues and not actually about what we do here. But I was pleased and happy to hear that people there were not talking about that. They were talking about cooperation and integration, and that's something that we do here at BCIC. We partner up with as many people as we can, with as many organizations as we can, and these are just some of the examples that already my colleagues went through. Prairie View, of course, the City of Brownsville, Teach for America for a youth panel that we have. And not only geographically, we're close to Harlingen, we're also hosting, as you saw, RGV Startup Week with the neighboring cities around us. Hard to see right now, this is the visitation trend, to your point, Mark, on E-Rich. You can see a little line on there. We have the highest visitation in the modern history of this building in November last year. 40% increase from last year, and an average visitation of 2.15 times per person. This software that we use differentiates between people that work here and people that come to our events, so that visitation trend does not include us. So at least someone that came to an event at least came again to some other event or happening or thing that we have going on here at E-Rich. You can also see all of these ads that we're running for success stories, not only for businesses, but for community organizations online. You can look at them on any social media, X, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. On the TV, they ran for a while. We're looking at running them again and also working with new organizations to do more success stories. Yes?
I think I saw one of these. Could you do us a favor, if possible, maybe send it to the board, those direct links, so they can see the videos? They're really
Of course.
good.
I'll send you a list of, let me put it down.
Are they all on our YouTube channel so we could like and subscribe?
They are, yes, and you can be part of the statistic of the 20% increase on social media follow. Okay, and we also partner with Ismael from Forkit. This guy, what he does is actually go review restaurants around the valley, And I'm happy to say that Ismael loves Brownsville. He has been here and promoted our city and our things without me like saying, hey, let's do a collaboration. He just comes because he really likes what we have to offer. He even went with La Ramblas to the James V. Award last year on his own, because he loved what we do here. We are building slowly a BCIC picture bank, so we don't have to rely on external pictures or use low resolution pictures that we find online, but something that's our own and we can use for all our collateral to show what the community has to offer and also what the programs have, the impact has been. So what's next? We do have 5 things at least happening in the next 2 weeks. We have the info sessions that were mentioned previously. We have the Startup Texas Pitch Fest this coming Thursday. We're launching RGV Startup Week 2025 signups for the next event. I think next week should be open. And an info session tomorrow even. So if you want to join, you can join online. This is the first time we do an online info session to see how it works. One of the comments that we got from people is that you always do this when I'm working, so let's try to figure out how to do it. So we're hosting this online to see how it goes. Up to this point, we have 100 plus RCPs on Startup Texas, more than 10 on the info sessions online, so we're, I think, on a good path. This one's ready to go. Brownsville Prospera. I don't know if you remember the strategic plan. It's a 100 plus page document. Brownsville Prospera is the public-facing, more digestible version of that. That one's ready to go. Once the board goes through the document and approves it, I will just plug it in and have something to share with the people, and hopefully they can embrace it as their own. Lastly, the elephant in the room, again, is the BCIC website. I know we have delayed this a couple of times. We have been working on this a long time. You can actually access it on bcic.heroespace.com to see the progress live whenever you want. But I think it's clear why it has been delayed. We have been doing so many things, so much things happening all the time. And the very first time we met, I told you, maybe you remember, you don't rise as high as your goals, you fall as low as your systems. And that's what I want this website to be, a system, a foundation we can fall on. And if the government decides that they're banning all social media next week, we don't have to depend on that. We have something of our own that's built with quality and it's a good foundation. Yes, the feature that Nathan mentioned, the quiz to find your program, is gonna be on the website. The property map is gonna be on the website. It's gonna have a search bar. If you wanna search for something, you can literally type it and you don't have to be looking through all the tabs to find your program. You'll be able to use it like a Google search, but inside our website. Last time I spoke with the developers last week. Yes? Can you go back to the Prospera one? Sure. And did I hear you correctly that it will not be released until the board agrees on it? Because this one is based on the plan. So whatever it's on the strategic plan is going to go on there. But it hasn't been released yet? No, it has not. It's only been presented during the board meetings.
So it's like a template.
It's a template. I mean, if the plan was approved today as it is, this can go out today because it's based off that.
I just wouldn't want it to be released until the board agrees on the plan.
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, lastly, I spoke with the developers last week. They said 87% complete. They have all the text, they have all the pictures, they just have to set it up, and you will be able to see the progress on the link right there. And by next week, I'm gonna get them everything that they need to complete it, and you can, if you see any typos, anything that you think it's not appropriate for the website or it's confusing, let me know so I can incorporate it on the feedback and have this ready, like final version all revised by March. And that's my presentation. Welcome to the new board members. Congratulations to the board members as well. And just let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you, Nelson.
Okay.
Nelson, can I have that?
Next, we have President's Update. Corey Peña, President CEO.
Okay, I'm going to try to get through this so we can get to our agenda items. First, I wanted to go through our strategic plan that we did when we met last month. So I reviewed with the board. We discussed what was found on the task from our consultants. For that board meeting, the board motioned to table the item for a special meeting to refine the plan. So that way we can also have target-specific initiatives, since the initiatives were very large, and the board felt like it was quite an undertaking to take all those initiatives. And then also put specific steps for implementation. We already had allocated funding, but we'll also review that as well to define the timeline and accountable metrics. So our proposal is that we meet with the chair and we decide on the next, doing a pool for a special workshop for the board. So that way we can get everybody on board, since we especially have 2 new board members on. And then we can refine the plan and take it for, board feedback and funding allocation before final adoption.
So, when we meet again, I'm assuming we're gonna have a more refined
Yes.
update. It's not like we're gonna go back and see the same thing that
No,
we have been
it's-
seeing over and
'cause-
over again. It's gonna be more refined based on the feedback that you already have
Correct.
gathered, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And then working from that, and then I'll work with the chair to, with what the team and I, we did a poll of, all the initiatives of what we came down, and then work with the chair and take it from there to the board for a workshop. Yeah, it was over 100 initiatives. Yes, so the staff and I, we got together, we did a little survey of, what we think in each of our departments and each other's departments of what we think is priorities, what we think is in our wheelhouse, what we can actually accomplish, and what would be the outcomes for that.
My one question is on the workshop. Is that just for the board members, or is that related to the joint work sessions with?
That's just with the board
Okay,
members.
thank you.
Oopies. Sorry, my bad. Okay, we're at the program. So the next one is the Downtown Renaissance Master Plan. So they have 12 proposals that have been submitted, and they're currently under review. I'm actually on the committee for review. The deadline was initially February 10th, and we just received an email that they're pushing it 2 weeks. So I don't know exactly the deadline. I just saw the brief that it's pushed back. The idea is, I think the city's still deciding after the 12 proposals if this can be presentations with the 12 or if it's downsized after the review on that. So that's up to the city on that. Yuri, I've heard from Nathan and Victoria in regards to the federal pause. In regards to the Brownsville Sports Park feasibility and market study that we have with Hudden Partners. So Hudden is finalizing the in-depth analysis of the undeveloped land at the sports park. Again, the key focus area is the market demand, the economic impact, the revenue potential, and the feasibility of adding additional sports, entertainment, or mixed-use developments for that area. So the next step is we're going to pull the board for a special call meeting to review the consultant's findings. The consultants will either do it in Zoom or in person. From that, we'll discuss on potential development strategies, the funding models that they've recommended, as well as implementation steps. And of course, then how it's aligning with city's priorities and ensuring that it's sustainable for the park. So a lot to do with the Hudden, but it's exciting, but it's with what I showed back in, I believe it was November, with the 3 proposals. It is quite a financial commitment, and then also who are the key players. So that will also be discussed in our meeting. Just to let you know that Eric and I met with the Midi Cultural District. They received HOT funds for their Midi in Motion initiative. And so they've come to us to see how we can work together to expand. Their Midi in Motion initiative was really an app, if I believe right, Eric? Am I saying it was an app? Yeah. And so Eric and I were talking to them about how we could scale that. They're in discussions with the city to talk about utilizing the scale house for the beginning of the Midi in Motion. And we talked about how important it is to have wayfinding signage on all those murals that we have, to see how we can assist with that. And because it's important about the walkability and the wayfinding of the, connecting those spaces. And then how we can partner with the engagement and outreach efforts to attract more visitors for these murals. We also had a meeting with Brownsville CVB for cross collaboration. Eric, myself, and Nelson met with CVB department to talk about how we can help with our efforts with our Border and Sea to boost the marketing and tourism efforts. Expanding our campaign to highlight more cultural and recreational assets. The whole idea for our collaboration is to promote more local businesses and downtown revitalization. As you know, I don't know if you know that CVB is very limited on what they could do internally here within the city limits. A lot of all their funding has to be out 50 miles and out. So we want to utilize what they're marketing and how we can showcase it here so we can promote it with our community. Basically aligning our branding. Okay, so you've heard a little bit. Nathan went to Brownsville Day at the Capitol last week. So was hosted by the Brownsville Chamber. So he engaged with our legislators and our economic leaders and our stakeholders to promote Brownsville. We also sponsored a private dinner with our state legislators and city management. And during that dinner, we had talked about priorities for economic development, opportunities for state and federal funding, and of course, regional collaboration. Cesar, Eva, and Sergio were in Austin at that time as well for their jobs. And so we invited them to join us for that dinner. And then Nelson and Eric went to Red River this past week as well. And Red River was a collaboration with the RGV partnership. It was 5 EDCs that went with a partnership to showcase Brownsville, its retail and commercial growth. One thing we did learn, I didn't put it on there, is that we learned for the Red River, we wanted to have our own booth next year. So we're going to talk with the city and GBEC to see how we can have our own booth and showcase Brownsville. Red River Dallas is all for Texas, for all your retailers, developers, real estate management and leasing agents. So it's a great networking opportunity. Meet a lot of people. We've been participating for 2 years now, so I've met a lot of the developers, a lot of the owners, leasing agents for all the shopping centers here. So it's a good way to learn, but we've added there this past week. We have 2 very strong business leads in the dining industry, both expanding in Brownsville. The first one is a sports bar, and it's first to market in the Valley. And the second is a national recognized upscale casual restaurant. So we'll be assisting them with market demand, available property, as well as we'll get with city too to see what if there's any incentives or any properties that the city can think of as well.
Quick question, so you at the Red River meeting, the city and GBIC were also there?
No, we were only there. But for the next one, which is always this time next year, we want to just have our own booth and have the city and GBEC and ourselves as representing Brownsville.
Legislature won't be meeting.
Legislature what?
Won't be meeting next year, so it'll be easier.
Got it.
Yeah. I think it's, when we went to Vegas, I think Vegas, it makes sense to collaborate with the RGV partnership as, all these EDCs. But with Texas, for Texas Focus, I feel like learning we need to just have our own identity and have our own booth.
But I mean, who's leading retail in the city? Who's leading retail in the city?
Currently, there's nobody leading retail. Well, we've taken the initiative on it. That's why, because we have Placer, so we have some of the tools to be able to get traffic and, destination of origin of consumers and such. We have that platform. And then we've already made connections. So we've we've basically taken it under ourselves to do it, since the city doesn't have anyone in staff and GBEC is not their focus.
Is there somebody, who's the focus, who's the point contact in this organization?
Right now, I have Nelson and Eric as the point of contact. Until we see any more further, if it takes more staff time, then we can re-examine where that goes.
Thanks.
And is that?
Sorry, by the way, I just want to say thank you for showing the key outcomes. That's helpful
The what?
to know what goes on at
Oh,
these
okay.
meetings. Yeah, sorry.
So
You're welcome.
you got all this done without even having a booth?
Yes.
Wow, okay.
People are knowing Brownsville. Brownsville is getting noticed. I have to say, those two leads, that was a phone call that was made to myself. That they called me at the beginning of January saying, hey, we're going to be there. Can we meet? So they're coming to us, but a lot of people still don't know Brownsville. Yeah, please. Eric, you can even.
If I can just add, so we took the liberty of walking around, introducing ourselves to multiple people, but honestly, we just stayed back during the lunchtime, and that's when everyone was coming up to us, asking us, Brownsville, where's that? Oh, is that South Padre? You know, just asking us details, and kudos to Nelson and Rudy. They got a bunch of data and these little pamphlets with all this information of how much traffic we have, our population, you know, our partner cities with Matamoros and Harlingen, the whole area, and people were just walking away amazed. Like, they were in shock. Nelson had some awesome socks made too, which helped us with some wins too.
I have one. Yeah, well, there's new 956 there with Market Square.
Yeah. Just really the reactions we were getting, and the amount of people just coming up to ask us questions about Brownsville. They just kept boasting about, no, we've heard about it. What can we do? How can we get there? Just asking us so many questions. We walked away maybe about 20 business cards of people that just want to follow up and just ask us questions. And it wasn't even just retail. We did get some inquiries on quality of life. We did meet with a couple of furnishing places, furnishing businesses that have some unique ideas when it comes to parks and different kind of swing sets and things like that they can be providing. So it was retail, but there was a vast majority of things that we can most likely benefit from.
So, great job, thank you for that. When you say follow-up meetings and so forth, like, are you engaging other entities now within the city to be in these meetings, or like how are we distributing this information that we're gathering?
Yeah,
To
so
who?
from now, well,
And-
there was one interest already. The city actually got the lead, and the city invited us to help with that. So it has to be a collaboration. City is working with the city, as well as even if GBEC, depending on what the lead brings to, what it's required and what we need. So it's all three of us. I think right now what's working for us is whoever has made that first contact takes the lead, and then we're support and vice versa. So for these two leads, right now, we're the lead. And so city and GBEC would be support. And the city had a lead, so they're taking the lead, they're the contact.
Okay,
So-
but what I'm saying, it doesn't have to be only BCIC, JBEC, city.
Correct.
You need to reach out also to the private sector, because they might have opportunities that you're looking
Yes,
for,
and we
right?
do. When we have
So
leads,
Huh?
yeah, well, when we have leads, we do reach out to our developers when we know of their property, so we can ask for their specs.
I just want to say, I did go to the national conference with Corey and
Vegas.
Nelson and Vegas, and obviously the national is a little bit different, but there just felt so many opportunities when we spoke to potential retailers and developers
Yeah.
about Brownsville. So I can see why Texas, you probably need your own booth, because if they're specifically looking for opportunities in Texas, we need to highlight this region, and we all know we're growing. There's a lot of great infrastructure and investments happening right now, so definitely looking forward to seeing more results. I guess, though, let's make sure we cover that in our strategic plan. I don't know where that falls in, because I think of when you said, well, is it in our wheelhouse? Yes, but I also worry about capacity, like where do we focus all our energy, and how do we balance that?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's all about image. You know, we don't want to, whatever we do, we don't want to underpromise. You know, we want to underpromise, overdeliver. We don't want to take on something and then fall through the cracks. It's really important for us to make sure that, you know, whoever comes to us, we basically hold their hand, you know, and give that customer experience.
And what about the businesses that come perhaps on their own? I think, Nathan, I think you told me that Nature's Grocers didn't really require help from you. So do you follow, do I remember that correctly? So they came on their own. Are you reaching out to those businesses and learning from them? Why did they choose Brownsville? And how can you help them, even though they didn't need your help to arrive? Perhaps you can offer something so that they stay longer. You're not.
No, we haven't reached out to Natural Grocers or any of the other new retail tenants that come in, but that's absolutely something we can do. I know that kind of just off the cups is data, a lot of which they already have themselves, the big players. The more kind of mid-tier level, they end up having to pay for the third party to get them that. So if us as an EDC who has Placer that can provide them with that data, that helps them make their decision. So that's kind of the method I think that we'll be going with. But as far as reaching out to Natural Grocers and others, that's a great idea to just talk to the leadership there.
Anyone who comes without your help, that you didn't personally recruit, I still think you should reach out to them.
Yeah.
And say, hey, we're here. How can we help you?
I agree.
As a welcome.
And we did help with Natural Grocers on locations. We provided, they asked us, we met them during RGV Startup Week, and they asked us for locations. And so Office Depot was one of the locations that we provided for them. But we could still further.
It was a very wonderful opening, and the chamber was very visible, but would be nice to see you guys there as well.
I agree.
Yeah, it overlapped with our schedule. I wanted to get that $500 gift card.
It was also cold that morning, but we had a lot of things going on that day. But yes, I agree. All right. Next. Okay. Next. Eric did touch on base on this a little bit. We were invited by GBEC to be on the space event committee. The reason they want our assistance is they are expanding the Space Fest event to also a conference and a site selector. And they like to have the conference here at eBridge for half a day. And so that's where we are fitting in. So we are going to help them by coordinating the conference here at eBridge. So we're looking at, you know, what workshops we'll have with space and entrepreneurship and workforce development. And so we're really excited about that. And lastly, our next steps is we'll be reaching out to the board to schedule a workshop for our strategic plan. Will also be another meeting for HUD and Partners, so that way we can talk about that. And then we will be confirming a joint workshop with the city in regards to the quality of life and sports park improvements. Yeah, that has not been confirmed yet. That's just coming from the city manager. They would like to have another joint meeting to go over their proposed quality of life and also their sports park improvements that we have from our Fund 23 that we have set aside. Any other questions? You know, I really appreciate, I know this is probably daunting for the board, but I thought it was really important, especially since we have 2 board members, to start off the quarter with, you know, having an idea of what each role the team members play and what their programs are. So I thought it was important. But we'll more than likely, most of Those presentations are quarterly. So like marketing, finance will be quarterly. Entrepreneurship and community development will be more of a monthly update for y'all. Okay.
Before we move on to the next item, Madam Chair, I was wondering if we could move item 11 first. This is the appeal. So that he doesn't have to continue waiting for, I mean, it's up to you. I don't mind it. Okay.
I think that would be very kind and respectful, unless someone has an objection to that. Okay, so then let's move that up.
Okay, item 11 is discussion, consideration, and possible action on the appeal of the fiscal year 2025 business improvement and growth big grant application for 1128B East Washington Street, Huesquero Hospitality Group, Inc., Martin Cavazos, with updated information for a facade grant of $14,000 and an interior and MEP improvements grant of $35,000.
I got it.
Okay.
Hello once again. So, as Mr. Cavazos spoke during his public comment, thank you, sir. There has been some updates and some more discussions when it comes to the building. Mr. Cavazos will be using the facade for cleaning and restoring the original facade, upgrading the windows, the doors, stucco repair and woodwork. He will also be, thank you, Corey, for helping with the highlighting on the actual photo. Everything highlighted in red is what's going to be adjusted. So Mr. Cavazos will be replacing the windows, removing the wood and replacing the windows for the entire second floor, as well as the transom windows above the awning. About 75 to 80% of the building will be, of the facade building will be cleaned out, except for I would get to the second unit, which is the storefront there to the right in front of the white truck, being that it is not being occupied right now by the owner of the building. Like we established before, it will be for Huesquero Restaurant and Bar to be in completion hopefully by the end of February, if not by the spring break.
The awning will be replaced also?
No,
on
the
front?
awning
No,
is to
no.
not be touched,
It's
correct.
the
It's just the
windows,
transom windows on the
facade,
top.
transom- Okay. And when you say facade improvement, is that for the storefront?
Yeah, his storefront and the entire second floor.
The entire second floor?
Reason being that he spoke with Ms. Pettis, and if we were to go into a phase 2 with the building, he will be looking into using it for residential. So that would be therefore activating the second floor.
Okay.
So, I'm sorry, it's from top to bottom, side to side, the facade would be fixed up.
Correct.
Except for the storefront,
Storefront at the bottom.
the second storefront.
All right.
Which is just a corner of that. It's in front of that white truck. That is the part, that storefront won't be,
Yes, of course.
there we go.
And he's asking for how much again? Sorry.
It is a total of $49,035 for the interior and MEP improvements, and $14,000 for the facade.
This is an application that we've
Yeah, we
kind of have asked for some adjustments, right?
Correct.
is
There was some clarifications that have been made, and Mr. Cavazos has been helpful in speaking with Ms. Pettis.
Yeah.
That way they could come to an agreement, and it abides by what's being requested as far as our big grants on.
So aside from the scope of the improvement itself that is happening, everything else matches or meet the requirements of the
Yes.
grant, right? Well, first of all, I will commend the owner, Mr. Cavazos, for his persistence, for his diligent work to keep kind of improving on his application to get it to where it kind of meet or align with what this board is trying to do. And please understand, from day one, myself, I speak on behalf of myself, I'm always prominent of supporting any businesses when I come to the downtown. This was a special case because the initial scope was just that storefront, and it was kind of awkward. You're just gonna, half of the building in the ground floor gonna be developed, the rest will be, but I appreciate the fact that you are willing to go full scale in this case, with the facade at least. So I appreciate that.
Well, it's mostly full scale, but is that Is that architecturally, I'm asking for your architectural opinion, is that an issue if it's not the entire thing?
Well, it is the entire facade, and
Well, except for the storefront, right?
yeah, the storefront of the ground, on the ground.
You're right, on the right side.
And I'm assuming you are working very closely with the Historical Preservation Board, right, on this, with Mr. Barris, because.
all the permits already required. They already went through the Historical Association. I did attend, I'm sorry.
You're good. So they make sure that he meet the requirements or the.
So they're okay with it?
Yeah, if they're okay, I mean, he can't get a permission without them approving what he's trying to do.
Oh, I meant like, is it an issue architecturally just to fix up like 3/4 of the facade, but not like that, say, the storefront that's in front of that white car?
The only thing will be left here is for whatever owner or whoever business gonna come into that second half in the ground will have to match
Yeah.
the whole renovation, so they will bring their own storefront that will match the rest of the.
Would that be harder? Would it?
No.
So
not
it's
at all.
fine. It's
Actually,
like
be
they can-
easier because whatever the owner come in will be, he will have the
Yep.
specifications, the guidelines, the color, everything, he just
I see.
purchase and store.
So it's not like the materials will run out, they'll still be able to, like, it won't look like a different color of,
And he
The
puts, I feel
historical
it puts
design.
pressure on whoever's there to like, okay,
Make it match.
make it match,
it
and
match.
oh wow, look how pretty, now we gotta keep up, you know?
And
Correct. And if I might interrupt, I might have some more clarification. Whenever you go to the historical board, they only allow a certain amount of colors and stuff that you can do to the outside. So even if somebody else does lease it, they have to follow the guidelines that the historical board has already set. So it's not gonna be something outlandish or crazy. That's it.
So-
Right.
you're fixing the second floor right now? No. you're
I'm
just doing
fixing the
facade.
windows so it's more
That's it.
aesthetic, and then hopefully I get access to the whole second floor. And my plan is to make it a low-income housing, just because I want to support the community as well.
And you already
So-
have a commitment or an agreement from the owner to fix the facade? Because
The
that's what
facade, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You have already.
Yes,
agreement
already
to
written.
sign that.
If I'm not mistaken, it should be in a packet already with the application. Yes.
That should also be needed for the Historical Design and Review Board, too.
Again, thank you. I appreciate your patience and working with us, and.
Thank you.
I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
for that.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank
Is that a
you.
motion, Murad?
I have a motion to approve the request as
Do
presented.
we have a second?
I'll second that.
Said he
All
was
in
second.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
All right, I guess, Nelson, can you put it back?
Yeah, we'll go back to,
Item 7. All right, while they're doing that, item 7 is discussion, consideration, and acknowledgement of the December 24 financial reports and the quarterly investment report for the period ending December 31st, 2024.
Good afternoon, board members. My name is Stephen Eliseo Muse. I'm with the city's finance department. I'll be going over this financial presentation through December, the end of the year. So, green button, right? Okay. So we'll start by taking a look at our balance sheet. We have cash in the amount of $300,000, investments totaling $14.8 million, accounts receivable $637,000, for a total of $15.8 million. Accounts payable is sitting at $113,000, and then we go into our fund balances, right? We have our restricted fund balance, which is the fiscal year 2025 amounts for the city agreements, the committed fund balance, which is quality of life projects and big grants, and some of those balances go back to 2022. So there's amounts from 2022 sitting there that are still pending to be paid out. They've been set aside until they're actually depleted. Assigned fund balance, those are the entrepreneurial and strategic initiatives projects. We have $160,000 sitting there. And then our unrestricted balance, which is the funds available for you to allocate for projects, right? So as we get sales tax revenues, they flow into the unrestricted fund balance, and then from there you guys take action on items, and we move them to the appropriate restricted category.
Okay, so the assigned part, the entrepreneurial and strategic initiatives and sponsorships, that's essentially what we decided in our budget, right? So I guess what confuses me is, I mean, I understood unrestricted as like an amount that was not programmed. And so help me understand like where, because it looks like we didn't do anything with 4.6 million, right? Like in our budgeting process, 4.6 million was just kind of left out. So it is assigned, right? I mean, we have a purpose for that money, but it's not been, we haven't just, it had, applications haven't come in. It hasn't been yet
So
committed.
you set a budget, correct? And you're saying that amount should already be designated as assigned?
That's, yeah. It's what it looks like. It's the unrestricted looks like it's not.
But we have that's our spend authority, right? Up to that budget amount. But we still have to take action as a board and approve which projects are going to receive those funds. So after you take action, at that point, it becomes assigned or restricted, committed. Does that make sense?
But I mean, like, so for the last project, we committed, right? I mean, it's not assigned. It's money that is, I was like, I don't know, 50,000. So it looks like it would go straight from unrestricted to committed.
Correct.
So it
On
skips
the
over.
next presentation, you'll see like a decrease of 50,000 in unrestricted and an increase in committed of 15,000, right? Because that was allocated.
Yeah, so I guess, like this is a new thing for us, these 5 pots. There used to be 3, right? It was just restricted, unrestricted, and then rainy day. And so I'm trying to wrap my head around this new system, and it looks, because before, when it was introduced, we had as much money in assigned as possible. And as we were earning more money, what was left over after the budgeted amount was going into unrestricted.
I mean, we can take a look at it and see if we
was the
can
guy before
do
you.
something like that.
Yes, I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess, talk to.
Yeah, we can arrange a work session. We can meet with the BCIC team and maybe with a couple of board members. As long as it's not a quorum, we can meet and discuss approaches to how this is presented.
Well, I guess I just want an answer, like what is the authoritative answer? That's what I was asking, is like, if this is the way it's done, where we roll over from fiscal year to fiscal year, unrestricted money.
Correct.
I'd be happy if you just said, this is the policy, it's, section 302.56 says this, that.
I can't quote it off the top of my head, but this is the same way that the city of Brownsville presents their fund balance. There's the unassigned fund balance, and that's what is available for X amount of projects, right, until they commit it to something.
Okay, so.
The way I see it, actually, this is good because now we know how much is committed, how much still funds available that we can take initiatives to
Right.
implement. So
I appreciate that too.
Yeah, so, I mean,
But I just don't understand this assigned, like, it's just extra thing.
I want to kind of ask the question of it's an allocation that we can use to program projects,
it's funds that is available that we can use to different
To program.
initiatives that a board find, impactful and useful for the community. Versus the 7,547 already been committed.
Yeah.
Whether city quality of life or, the big or the other quality of life initiatives, those have been committed already, right? So we still have money available for not committed, meaning we budgeted for it.
It's an allocation.
But we budgeted for it. Mark is correct in that manner. We budgeted for it, but we haven't committed to any project yet. So next month, when the 12 projects come to us for the quality of life, and we approve them, that 4 million will go down.
And the unrestricted,
From
most of that
unrestricted-
money is budgeted.
Well, but his thing is not committed yet. It's
But it-
budgeted, but it's not committed. That's the only difference, the difference.
So how do you get into the assigned pot?
Once we receive the applications and we approve them. Once
But when we
approve-
approve them, it's committed.
Yeah, but right now they're not committed. We have budget, but they're not committed.
All right, well, whatever.
We can revisit, going back to 3 categories, just
No,
unrestricted.
I want to see committed.
Okay.
I do want to see committed.
All right. So yeah, and the total fund balance is 15.7, right? Now we'll take a look at our income statement, which shows our budget to actuals. And just to point out real quick, we have sales tax through November, not the full 3 months. We haven't received December's yet. So that's comparing just 2 months to 2 months. So the sales tax is at 1.2, interest, 174,000, EDA, TAMU contributions, 150,000, sponsorships are at 39,000, and miscellaneous is 25,000, almost the full budgeted amount there, for a total of 1.6 in revenues. And then the admin costs are at 403,000, about 24% of the budget, which is appropriate for the quarter. And then the strategic initiatives, that's the budget, your adopted budget for each category, just condensed into one line item, right? So your different budgets are reflected just, to be concise and not have a whole lot of line items. So it's just presented like that. So 812,000 so far out of a 10.1 million budget. Does that make sense? Any questions there?
I just said I'm going to get training. We'll get it later. I'll ask my questions later.
Okay. So the next slide just takes a look at sales tax compared to last year. So for the October and November, we've received 599,000, 629,000 for 1.2 million, which is about 31,000 more for the same period last year. So about 2.7% increase, and if that continues, by the end of the year, we should have 7.8 million, or about 650,000 more than last year. I'm sorry, more than we budgeted.
I have a question about the sales tax. Is there a way where we can look into specific district, mainly the downtown district, right, the historical downtown?
So you want us to pinpoint which industry is contributing what, or which businesses?
No, which I'm interested mainly in the historical district.
Oh, geographic.
The downtown, mainly to see to use it as one of these metrics to assess the impact of the big program, right, in downtown. And one of them would be, we know the number of businesses that have been, supported, or one way or another through the big program. But I need to know also, how is that translated into tax sales?
What percentage of the sales
Is it improving? Is it steady? Is it, because that will indicate there is,
So-
tax collection based
geographic
Yeah.
So-
Downtown, sorry.
Many years ago, I asked Pete Gonzalez this very same question when we began downtown revitalization, and the answer was no. Has that changed?
We have now access to the comptroller's, what's the term?
Yeah,
The
they're,
sales tax restricted data. So we've just started looking at that. We're looking at purchasing a software that'll let us analyze that and tell us which specific company is contributing to our sales tax. So we can probably get that mapped geographically. We'll look into that and keep the BCIC team
Yeah.
appraised of how that works out.
It seemed at the time it should be easy, because that's when we were beginning Better Block, Ciclovia, and we wanted to look at sales tax for the downtown area, but it wasn't that easy. It wasn't a way to do that.
See if there is a way.
I hope they've improved to where you can.
no.
Can I get an account?
The community,
I want
the
to
prior
the
community
software
development
with the
manager,
tax.
she was able to get
I'll see if we can
the sales
arrange
tax collected for the past 4 years, but it was tedious. It was broken down by street. So it can be done. Eric is just getting on board with that, so we can figure out, again, from the gap from Miriam when she was gone, to get the sales tax. But if I recall the past year compared to, I think it was from 2019, it was a spike, and then COVID, it dipped. But then we were, from 2022 to 2023, we were like $1 million over on sales tax.
Just a question.
Yeah.
If there's a way we might have not, I understand. Yes.
The other
Thank
part,
you.
the other part of the no at that time was that not every business pays their sales tax on time.
Yes.
And so then there was always that lag or not lag or.
That's true
But
as well.
it's a good question. It was mine about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's corrections where the next month will look a lot bigger. Yes, sir.
So,
Well,
okay,
October's high, though.
we're a month behind actually on sales tax,
Yes.
right? But like all the other income is up to December 31st.
Correct, those are through December. This was the only one, it takes us about 45 days to receive the report, so we'll get it, for December, we'll get it mid-February.
I mean, I think this is where, like, this table could benefit from being a graph, right? Like, I mean, the variance from month to month is interesting, but it's more of the trajectory and against the projected amount of, that we're, you know, that we budgeted for. How much do we expect to make? I think that's a bar chart. It's more like how it's, you know, I want to know FY24 actual versus FY25 actual and then projected, right? And I don't need to know about the future months, right? I just need to know like what's going on since the beginning of the fiscal year. I mean, like keep the table, right, as an appendix.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just I want to know the gap, and you know, I don't need to know the dollars, figures. I just need to know the trajectory.
Okay, I'll work on developing a graph and see if we can do something for the next meeting that meets that criteria.
Okay.
The next slide, this one is showing our sales tax over the years, right, going back to 2020, and you can see that it's, the actuals have continued to increase year over year, and we've budgeted 7.1 million, right, but we're expecting 7.8 million, or 650,000 more. Is there any questions on this one? So I'll move on to this slide, which is basically a restatement of the fund balances with the accompanying graph. Any additional questions regarding these? And then lastly, we have our investment report. Let's see if I can find that. This is an investment report including all the funds. So there's a total balance of 17.8 million there. In the depository bank, we have 651,000. In the money market accounts within the bank, 4.2 million. And then in the two investment pools we have, there's 13 million for a total of 17.8 million. And our weighted average days to maturity are 22, so it's a very liquid amount. Our maximum allowable days is 270, so we're way below that limit. And then our weighted average yield across the investments is 4.38%. Our target to beat is the 3-month T-bill, and we're 1 basis point above that, 4.37%. And with that, that concludes our financial report. Is there any additional questions for me?
I'm sorry, thank you. A glossary or terms, and I see a memo here referencing that, but I don't see it attached. Is it, is it in the next presentation? Okay, then disregard.
Okay, I did add some, in parentheses on the balance sheet, I did include some.
Okay.
Was that kind of what you needed? Or?
Yeah, I was just so.
I can apply that to all the slides if that works.
That could help, yes, definitely.
Okay. We'll do
Thank
that.
you.
See, you know, the financial reports, Corey, there's 2 of them, and they're both essentially the same. I say pick one or the other. The sales tax chart, the bar chart is repeated 3 times. It's like, I want to see it once because I'm trying to go through it. I don't want to have to, going through it fast, I want to be able to consume it fast and not have to go over things they've already seen.
Okay, I'll work on eliminating redundancies, like the fund balance chart. That's kind of a duplicate of the first slide, so maybe we can cut that out and add the graph you're talking about.
We'll work with the city, including Lissette's report, to see how it's not duplication, it's just complementary. Because there's some things that his report doesn't hit on that Lissette wants to share. Thank you.
Anything else?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Go back,
We still got a two.
go back.
Okay. Good afternoon, board members. Lizette Villarreal, Accounting Controller for BCIC. I have provided a comprehensive overview comparing our actual budget with our intended budget. This new report has been added to the financials to give everyone a clear picture of BCIC's financial standing from October 1st to December 31st, 2024. Moving forward, this report will be presented quarterly alongside the financials. Please take a moment to review and share any feedback. If you have any questions, suggestions on, on how we can improve this report, they are most welcome. You also find the glossary in second page or third.
So, I mean, just to explain to us what you're trying to share with us here, like what is the background supposed to convey to us? Like the first paragraph says, City of Brownsville qualified project, right?
Yes.
So I see that the high part is the committed amount, and then the orange
Is what we have spent.
extent. Okay, and then the other blue is the, I'm sorry, I just can't see.
Yes.
It here, that's why I'm
Yes.
asking.
It's-
The other, the shorter bar is just basic, or what's that? Or is that maintenance, I can see, maintenance and operation?
Yes, it's the same. On all of the charts, it's the budget versus how much has been spent as of December 31st, you know.
I get it, but why would plugging in the maintenance and operation in the same
In,
diagram there, same,
in which one, I'm sorry?
the one that talks about city of Brownsville quality of life project?
Ah, okay.
I see the bar about the amount of quality of life, what is that, the dollar amount committed, correct?
Yes,
And then the orange is how much actually being spent.
yes.
But then why are you bringing the maintenance and quality to the next year? Because that's a different line item, isn't it?
The maintenance
No.
and operations, the
Yes,
BSPM?
operation.
Yeah.
We put in with the city, that was part of our agreement, that,
Oh.
that
Sports
50%.
park. It's a sports park.
No,
Yeah.
no, that's not.
It's not?
No, that's what I told, no, it's not.
Oh, it's not? That's,
Yes.
That's to actually, to allocate to.
No, the sports park maintenance and operations, that was part of the 50%
yeah.
that is allocated to the city.
We
The,
pay that,
the 500,000 goes of sports park.
Okay, so you're trying to designate that on the specific.
Yeah, because that's
Yes.
part of, in the cities, yeah,
So
the
then we
50%.
haven't had any expenditures yet for that sports park, right? Is
No.
that-
That's correct.
Gotcha.
Okay, so in this case, you might want to give that a different color, just to distinguish, because it's kind of, in my head, it's like, that's part of the allocated fund, right? Committed fund.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
One feedback.
Okay.
What color do you want, Maria? Green, okay.
So,
Green, it's a park. It gets.
Green, yeah, green means, yeah,
Yeah.
green means spent, yeah.
So, just to give a little background to the two new board members, in previous conversations with the board, obviously our budget is different than what the city presents, and so they wanted to be able to look at the budget that we've approved and be able to see where is the trajectory on that. And so that's where Lisette is coming into this, and she's putting this together, getting the feedback from you, the board, to make those improvements, try to avoid duplication for the next one now, and see where that way we're all very comfortable on where our budget is.
Understanding
Yes.
Right, and the next slide, the table, I think that, so I would say move away from bar charts and go to lines, because like these are snapshots. I want to know what, you know, like, you know, we're going to be, there's always going to be a gap between what our budget, how much we commit and how much we spend.
Yes.
I wanna know how those gaps are closing or opening. If they're opening, I wanna know, like, maybe that's where we need to make, that comes for us to make a decision. What are we gonna do?
Okay.
You see what I mean?
Yes, okay.
It's gonna make it very hard for her. What you're talking about is legally when we look into the big picture and the quality of life. But if you start doing that for the next one, entrepreneurship and innovation programs, that will become a mess.
Well, I mean, like, you could take it from the 30,000-foot level for now. Like, you know what I mean, like the community, like keep it at the programmatic level, like right over here with the.
The category,
Yeah.
instead of sub,
Yes.
yeah.
What I do is the way he's implementing, get away from the specifics with each project.
Mm-hmm.
Like we try to say, and just keep it like we did with the city, quality of life, this amount, and this is how much is being spent.
Mhm.
Whether you want to do it. So like these are two parts that show the gap. Same thing here, the totality of what have been committed and the totality of what have been spent.
Okay.
You know, because otherwise it's gonna be a mess.
I mean, I do like it. I think it's a good start. I know right off the bat, what happened there with Frontera leadership? Just look, there's more actuals than budgeted, or?
Yes, that's correct. Because the program run past our fiscal year, and we weren't permitted to carry over the funds that we had
Oh, so
allocated.
that's why it shows the, okay.
Yes.
So with that said,
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate the efforts, I really do. But I think we need to come to agreement of what format we need to move forward, because I understand how much of work that is and tedious work, and we
Yeah.
don't want to keep you back, no, this,
Yeah.
that. Because I like the blue, I like it's not about that, right? It's about what we want to do. Do we want to show the gap? Is that our intention from this? Then, okay, stick with that, show us the gap, right? And that's it. We don't want to, like, ask for too much,
I mean,
keep changing
yeah.
it then.
Yeah.
So
But think
let's
about
bring
it
the
from
other.
our
Duplicate work.
perspective. Because
Yeah.
like, we need to make decisions, and if the money is say, like, just flatlining,
Mm-hmm.
then we need to like say, hey, what are we gonna do? Right? But I can't look at a snapshot. What I've been doing frequently is I will take several packets from the past and lining them up and just flipping all them through. I'm having to make assessments based on like pulling the 4 packets together. I don't wanna do that, like, I'm a volunteer, I don't have that much time. I need you guys, this is your full-time job, I need you guys to figure this out. Because once you figure it out, once it's done, then it's just the next month's data. It just feeds right in, next month's data. And then, it's just like a assembly line. So you don't have to work, once you do it right, that's it.
But, I mean, okay, let's bring whatever he's asking for, and let's compare and contrast, and then we'll make a decision, so thank you. Appreciate it. Because this does give you, like, okay, this month is gonna be.
Snapshot.
Next month, she can have the next one, January.
Right, and then I have to like line them all up to see, like, okay, if this is, why is this one not moving? You know what I mean?
Okay.
Any other questions?
Thank you, this is great.
Thank you, Lisette.
All right, moving on to item number 8, consideration and action on accountability and transparency in operations. A, provide executive session materials. Yes.
Do we need a motion to acknowledge receipt of financial reports?
Yes, we do.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So moved.
Second, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Tracy.
Yes, thank you. All right. Item 8A, provide executive session materials electronically to board members at least 72 hours prior to meeting. B, post meeting packets on the BCIC website no later than 72 hours before meetings. C, publish meeting minutes, full board and committee meetings on the BCIC website within 24 hours of board approval. D, notify all board members of upcoming committee meetings at least 72 hours in advance. E, publish the final annual budget on the BCIC website immediately after approval by the City of Brownsville or BCIC if amended. F, conduct annual financial and compliance audit to ensure fiscal responsibility and adhere to governance standards. That'll be with Victoria.
So this item was brought back to the agenda as a request by Mark. Mark, do you want to point out something? Do you want to mention something
Well,
about this?
I think this is for the benefit also for the the two new board members. In November, we introduced this, or I asked for this item to be on the agenda, and I think there was some general agreement about the items, but that they needed to be, some of them needed to be reworked. So, you know, what I'd like to know is what's been done so far, and then also if there are items on here that I think are already good to go, you know, we can move forward on those and then rework the ones that need work.
I'm just going to speak frankly here, sorry. As a staffer, item B changes a lot with the packets. Like I've even had to update slides and stuff. So I don't know how the board feels about that. I know I drive Victoria crazy by getting my packet in sometimes the day of the meeting of some items, or for instance, I was waiting on a cohort graduation to just update one single number instead of sending out my packet. So maybe we relook at the meeting packets aside from the agenda. Agenda clearly always goes out. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. I'm super sorry, Murad. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. I was glad that you're bringing your perspective into that. What I was going to say is that, for example, posting the meeting packet on the website, maybe the 72 hours, that was a discussion about. You know, the full meeting minutes for the board, I mean, there is no issue there, and it's already been published and so forth. I remember our issue, or one of the main topic of discussion were publishing meeting minutes for committee meetings, because we discussed this in detail or in depth about the committee meetings usually are kind of informal, elaborate. Sometimes we go off topic, come back to, you know what I'm saying? So A is going to be additional burden on the staff to capture all these minutes for the different committees, and B, I don't see why we need to post these, you know, informal discussions where everything will be brought back to the full board and discussed and published in you know, under the full board meeting. So that one was the issue. Now the 72 hours, I have no issue with it, but if the staff feel like this could be difficult to maintain, we'll open it for discussion. So my only reservation on this whole thing is the committee meetings minute. I don't see a need or a necessity for it. But that's my opinion.
Sorry, Mike. I think 72 hours is very reasonable. I mean, that's what I'm used to living with. With respect to committee meetings, if I'm not on a committee, but I'm interested in what's going on, am I prohibited from going?
No, not at all.
But that may break quorum, so our committee meetings posted?
They can be shared with you. They're not posted. At the moment, we don't post them, but we can share you the recording, we can share the meeting minutes
No,
with the board members.
That's not like being in the room if you want to hear what's going on. So, I mean, I think there is a need for sharing the committee meeting notes. And/or if I'm not on the committee and I want to attend to overhear and hear what's happening, I'd like to be able to do that.
I just wanted to double check. I just asked Corey this, and I think I understand. These are not the standard operating procedures.
No.
They are in development, right? Or they're,
Exactly. So that
okay.
was my.
Thank you, sorry.
So as
We can come back to this.
discussed in our previous board, on the November 2024 board meeting, we were tasked, the BCIC staff was tasked with enhancing accountability and transparency. And since then, we've started working on standard operation procedures and also in additional governance resources. For example, the suggested tiers of improvement were board and committee meetings, so tier guidelines for notification, materials and public access, public transparency, timely posting of agendas, minutes, financial documents, and governance and compliance, strengthening oversight through structure, policies and audits, and fiscal responsibility, insurance, adherence to budget, and reporting standards. So right now, we are working on the SOPs. They're not ready yet, but they will be within the next couple of weeks. So what we are proposing is for the once the SOPs are ready, for the HR committee to review the SOPs and then bring them to the board. All of your feedback will be included in the SOPs in regards to the procedures of how you want to proceed, specifically, for example, with the committee meetings, with the posting of the board meeting packets online. All that will be documented, but we're still working on it.
But as of now, the board meetings minutes are posted.
Yeah.
The
Yes.
agenda items are posted on, on the website. Everything is
Right.
done except of the committee.
Okay.
Well, no, the packets aren't.
And the agenda packets are not posted.
The agenda and the meeting minutes, I don't know, they're not, like, posted,
Until they're signed.
Yeah, until we have
no,
all
I think
signatures.
they're on there, and yet the meeting minutes weren't there when I thought they would be after we approved it, but,
For the full packets, is that a typical thing to be posting the full packet?
I mean, for my governing body in the, like, metropolitan planning organization, we post the entire packet, and we're not allowed to make, if we have to post it within 72 hours, if revisions come in later, we revise the packet on the website, but the packet is posted. That's
For
just,
maximum accessibility to the general public.
and additionally, with subcommittee meetings or in committee meetings, it's not like minutes are posted, but the agendas or topics of discussion are there. And I just took the TOMA certification, and they do ask for like notes or summaries of committee meetings, part of the Texas Open Meetings Act.
Just to clarify,
Yeah.
right, so I have no qualms against the packet being posted.
Yeah.
It's within that 72-hour timeframe that I want to get up reprimanded because my item was 70 hours or something.
And I know we do that at the MPO, where we post it 72 hours in advance with whatever's ready. And then if revisions come in,
It's updated.
It's updated. The link stays the same, but it's the website that's accessible. And it doesn't matter if I'm, in New York, or if I'm in Mexico, or if I'm there in the meeting.
Is there a
The website's
disclaimer
fine.
that there may be revisions? On
I'd
the
have to
post-
double check. I think it's just common practice in our organization, but I think that would be a great addition.
Maybe when a revision is
You know
done,
what?
it
I think
says
it's on the
dated
website.
of
Yeah, I think
I think it's actually on the webpage. That's revisions come in as necessary, yeah.
Yeah. Would that help me, in terms of like the workflow, would that be okay?
Because I get it. I get it. Yeah, no, I get it.
Right. Changes a lot sometimes.
But overall, this item needs an acknowledgement, or for
Well-
now, or?
I was thinking perhaps, I understand you're doing the SOPs. I mean, just to make it, like, there's some things that are simple. For example, I know that, obviously, there was an article where the journalist did not get the packet immediately, so, I think it would be good just to, let's move forward on that, right? Just in good faith, post the packets. I think we can go forward on that. And then still, like in parallel, we can work on the SOPs.
Can I also just add, it can be whatever's presented like in the PowerPoint versus what we have our extended packet. That is still considered a packet of like what the slides are versus like all of the detailed information that we get. Anyway, just as a 2 cents, like that, what's being presented is what's available. As a compliment.
So maybe we go line by line? I know that Rod's, like, we could table like committee meetings or whatever, go for SOP, move that to the SOPs and then. Consideration and action on accountability and transparency.
So we're gonna do line by line? Okay.
No, wait, yeah, I know that F, like, is a lot more detailed, so, we could table that. The final annual budget on the BCIC website. So, do you guys want to move, let's move with, I'm gonna make a motion to approve item 8A.
To approve item 8A?
I'm sorry, to approve it so that this is executive session materials provided to the board members electronically 72 hours before the meeting.
Do we have a second?
Sure, I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Nay.
So do we have a head count?
We have.
4 and 2.
Yeah.
Passes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, item B.
I'll make a motion for 8B, to approve 8B.
Do you want to say something about the ability to send in updates?
And with modification to send in or to post revisions as necessary.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Number C.
Yeah, go ahead.
Publish meeting minutes for full board within 24 hours for approval.
What? Do we have, there's discussion after the second, right?
We're excluding the committee meetings portion of that.
Yes.
Is there
No,
a
we
second?
have a, and we'll
I'll
post
second
it,
that.
and then we can update.
Eva.
Discussion. So I don't understand your objection to posting committee meeting minutes.
Because, as I said before, all of committee meetings, minutes, I see it as a working meetings to go through the agendas, discuss it, clean it up, and make it to elaborate on it.
But you're not discussing business. You are, right? In the committee meeting, you're discussing business.
But it's not like it's gonna come back to the full board, and it's gonna be discussed again in the full board, and that's where it would be elaborate and reflected in the minutes of the full board. So I don't see why we have to go into including a lot of details and conversation that, but the final outcome of these. Unless, that's why I want to pick it up now to figure out maybe it's a summary, maybe it's a conclusion rather than a full-fledged conclusion.
Okay.
That's fine. I want to fix this and then go back to further discussing.
I have a question, Chair, if I may. So, published meetings for full board, the mic is on, thank you. Published full meetings, now, this is just, I'm going to pose a question to administration. I mean, do you have the capacity to turn over the minutes in 24 hours?
At least give us 48 hours, because there's times when a board member is absent and we have to request a signature online. So at least a day extra.
Yeah, that was my question, is just to kind of get a feel for administration, because, I mean, we can sit here and say, well, we want it within 10 hours, right? But let's be realistic about, your workload and be considerate of the fact of how long we sit here for like 4 hours to discuss things. So I'm sure that takes a while to kind of notate everything, right? So,
But that's not, just to be clear, what it says is it's within 24 hours of board approval. So the minutes don't get published until the board has approved the minutes. It's not within 24 hours of the meeting that are being recounted in those minutes.
But it's mainly for the signature.
Yeah.
it's mainly for the signature.
Now, we do have language that we wanted to include that, we can publish it within that 24 hours. And if we don't have all those required signatures, we can update as needed.
Oh, where you say this is unsigned,
Yes,
and then when you get the signature,
we
Then
update it.
it's 24 hours.
that's fine. Is it have to be the secretary that signs it or the chair?
As chair and secretary.
Okay. So if both are absent,
Or if one is absent, we can always send it via DocuSign, and they can be electronically signed.
So would he have to change his motion for that? Or,
you mean for the
But within 24 of board approval, so
That's
that's
the
already
same
indicating
thing, yeah.
that, it's the same thing. Once they approve it, like if she couldn't get the signature, it's not approved.
The
Does
only
that make
thing you're
sense?
changing, you're in the only thing you're removing is
It's the
committee
committee
meetings.
for now. Everything, and
So
we're
there's
doing
a
that
first
already.
and a second. Is there any
Yeah,
more
we're doing that.
discussion?
Are we changing the motion or are we keeping it?
No, we're keeping it.
It's the same, because
Because
it's,
the
it's
language
it's
indicate that.
depending on board approval, so that's.
And hearing
I'm
no
o-
further,
I'm okay with, like, I mean, we could come back to committees later, since, but I do think that, full board
Yeah,
should be
of course.
published within 24 hours.
I agree.
Okay.
okay, no further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Number D.
I'll make a motion to approve 8D.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Number E.
I'll make a motion to approve 8E.
Do we have a second?
A second.
Discussion?
The word immediately, what is that? I mean, again, what is that?
Sorry,
really
say it
like?
again?
The word immediately kind of caught my attention. They're like, what do you mean?
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
why
we
wouldn't give
can-
them a 24-hour, whatever?
I
don't
think
know.
24 hours
24
works
hours.
to meet the other
24
one.
hours.
Do you want to change it to
I'll-
24 hours?
I'll make a motion for 80, publish the final annual budget on the BCIC website 24 hours after approval by the city of Brownsville or BCIC if amended.
And it's been seconded?
Do you want to second that again?
I actually want to change it okay, second,
Discussion?
may I edit the motion one?
Make an amendment.
Amendment to the motion.
Motion.
Yes. Publish the final annual budget on the BCIC website within 24 hours after approval by the city of Brownsville or BCIC if amendment.
I thought that's
Within,
what
he
you
said after, I said,
That's not what
he
you
said
Say what?
within.
Oh, within.
Oh, within.
Okay,
Within.
any further
Thank-
discussion?
A second.
Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Number F.
I'm gonna, make a motion to table 8F.
Do we-
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next item.
Item number 9, consideration and action to enter into a performance agreement with the following 2024 Startup Texas SBIR/STTR cohort graduate. A, Arnie Tyler of Merlion Advisors in partnership with Texas A&M Engineering Experiment Station in the amount of $17,000.
I want you to read every single statement in your presentation.
So in February of '24, last year, Embedded won second place at our Startup Texas SBIR, Small Business Innovation Research, and STTR, Small Business Technology Tech Transfer Research, it's a mouthful, competition. This is a special partnership with Texas A&M's Engineering Experiment Station. They fund this entire accelerator. They fund all the grants for it as well. And they also fund an additional $40,000 in the form of 4 $10,000 grants to either the winners or the graduates who didn't win. It's been a great program. This is the third different component of Startup Texas. In this iteration, unfortunately, back in December, and this is the first time in the 5 years that the entire Startup Texas program has taken place, Embedded made the difficult decision to stop pursuing their startup. They won $20,000 in the pitch competition. They also got an additional $10,000 grant that this board approved of in November, which was part of that additional $40,000 that they give away. The $10,000 was immediately returned. Of the $20,000, roughly about $17,000, a little less than $17,000, was given back to us in that form of a clawback as part of the performance agreement. I immediately spoke with Texas A&M over the decision of what to do with that funding. We decided to go ahead and give it to the fourth place winner, which is Merlion Advisory Group. Merlion specializes in marine technology. They use like these unmanned boats to kind of go into enemy territory with sonar and other kind of gizmos and report back to the DoD as to what they find. They're built very cheaply. They're small enough that they can evade capture. And if they get blown up, like I said, they're built cheaply. Let me rephrase that. They aren't as expensive as the existing stuff that's out there, so there's not a lot of heartbreak if something like that breaks. Arnie's very talented. He's actually one of the few startups that has worked with the DoD. He's actually going to the Philippines right now to pitch this product to them as well. With everything that's going on in the South China Sea and in the Philippines, it's becoming a pretty big issue. This is how the 17,000 will be reallocated. 4,600 will go in towards the HydroCat navigation system for that boat that I was talking about. $2,500 will go to a 6-month lease site at the Port Isabel Operations Center, so they're right there on the coast. Caveat there, this program is valley-wide within all 4 counties. That when Texas A&M gave us that money, they specified that they wanted all 4 counties to be contributing to the program. $2,500 is going to go to the cybersecurity assessment integration. They'll actually be hosting this in our data center upstairs because we have that cybersecurity clearance within our data center. $3,400 goes into an SBIR compliant office that's here at eBridge that they'll be moving into. $2,000 to go towards a consultant. That's a lot of the SBIR graduates as well as winners utilize a consultant to get that funding. And then $2,000 for conference travel. The SBIR, if they successfully win that grant, that's $250,000 of research or more that comes into Brownsville and it utilizes our local universities. It's why Texas A&M, when they got this SBA money, wanted to partner with us so that this region gets more applications out. And I will open it up to questions.
I heard this pitch. It was very impressive how it would help with security and mapping a lot of the ocean floor. I know what really stood out was how it would track potentially enemy vessels or people spying, other countries spying us. So it has a lot of potential that if it takes off, it could be a good win for the pitch competition to highlight that.
So long as SBIR is still a thing with the current administration, absolutely, yeah. Approval. In the backup documentation in your board packet, I do have emails from William regarding the decision that he had to make, feedback from Texas A&M, recommending that we also move forward with Arnie as well. I should also mention Arnie is one of the first graduates to go through that SATOP program that we have with Bay Area Houston too.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next item.
This is a newbie question. The performance agreement is standard, the one that's in the packet?
Yes,
Okay, just wanna make
for
sure.
Startup Texas, the winners of the competition, we've had them all enter performance agreements.
Okay, just wanted to
Including
make sure.
what we're going to talk about now, everybody will be entering into a performance agreement.
Okay, thanks.
Even since it's not our funds, we still make them go into a performance agreement.
Okay, great, thank you.
Because we're the pass-through and, yeah.
Item 10?
Consideration, action, and discussion on the 2025 Startup Texas Advancement Fund guidelines.
First and foremost, I'd like to apologize to the Small Business Development Committee. Normally, with something like this, I'd meet with you all, either individually or as a group to discuss, and I lapsed on that. But this is our Startup Texas Advancement Fund. It's the newest grant that we'll be issuing out. Just to give the new board members some further clarity, Startup Texas started off as a pitch competition. All you had to do is have a really great idea for a business within Brownsville. You could apply and you could win up to $20,000 in seed funding. In 2020, we decided we were going to pivot and focus on an accelerator program and only allow the graduates of the accelerator program the chance to pitch for funding, which would then end up in the first, second, and third place, and they'd get seed funding. Last year, we started to realize that many of the members in the cohort started to apply for the program specifically with the intent to win money and not to undergo the actual acceleration programming. And we also started to find that the cohort, the bonding of the members started to kind of dissolve as it got closer to the competition. It got really cutthroat. If you think about it, I force all these people into a room for up to 12 weeks to become best friends. And then at the end, I hand them each a knife and say, okay, who's going to win $40,000? And it was getting really, really just ugly. So in speaking with the Small Business Development Committee, when we were making the budget for last year, we decided to go ahead and pull the money and allow all of the graduates to have an equal opportunity to apply to up to $10,000, which is exactly what this is. They may not get all 10,000, but they can apply at least up to 10,000 and can only be utilized for specific expenses, so permits, licenses, regulatory certifications, securing a patent or protecting IP, assessing NASA tech transfer, there's a cost regarding any tech transfer license that they get, engaging in engineering or consulting services, so if they want to go pursue an SBIR or if they need assistance from the T's, like 40 hours of engineering service, they can use that as well. It's really just focused specifically on their product development. Previously, with our other performance agreements, we would allow them to use it on marketing, rent, staff. We don't want to use that anymore. We want our money to go to kind of like the meat and potatoes of what they're trying to do, instead of kind of allowing further expenses to come through. So non-allowable expenses, operational costs, rent, utilities, and salaries or employee compensation, marketing, advertising, or even promotional activities. You just approved one where they were going to go on go to Houston for a conference. That's okay. That's A&M's money as well, and they're okay with that. But for this specifically fund, we really want to take a sniper approach with it. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. Remind me again, how much was the total funds for this?
We budgeted $170,000 for 3 different cohorts. So that allows up to 17 graduates that can apply. If they each get the full 10,000, some may only be applicable for about 4,000 or 5,000.
Okay.
This current cohort that's graduating, we have 8 graduates.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes.
We have 8 graduates with this current cohort. If all successfully apply to the advancement fund, that'll be $80,000. That'll be taken out of that line item. I don't believe that each one will get the full 10,000. We're going to scrutinize what their application is, and but we have enough funding for this cohort as well as our fall cohort.
So, I mean, I understand the logic behind trying to make it equal field and everything, but do you think that's the wise strategy versus go back to the original format and provide more fund that will actually make an impact versus trying to slice it to where everybody gets a piece of the pie?
No, I totally get it. I had trouble with trying to come up with this. I leaned heavily on our partners over in San Antonio and Austin to see what they've done. They all moved away before we even thought about it from that competition format because the exact same problems that we had, they started to have as well.
No, I mean, open it beyond just the cohort, open it for anybody to apply for. So it's not just
The
your
advancement
cohort.
fund, if this board wants to do that, we can change the guidelines.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not
Yeah.
just among the cohort, anybody could apply for it, but then they receive impactful funds
Sure.
that will actually make a difference.
We can,
Then
we can absolutely
that's
do
what
that. The reason we tied it to the program is because we looked at it as if they're willing to sit through a 15-week-long program. The graduates that you're going to see on Thursday, they started back in August, so some of the programs even lapsed longer. That showed like a commitment. Beyond the commitment, it also showed from the facilitators who was really at a scalable point where if we're going to give them that $6,000 for a prototype, they've proven themselves. That can still be had with a company that walks in that didn't go through the program if we just vet them accordingly. So we can change these to be allowed to be allowed for anyone. Yeah. we can
Nathan,
do that.
remind me though, we have money set aside for like TMAC too. Is that part of this?
That is part of this as well. So TMAC Consulting comes through with this. Part of the idea was, for instance, La Pale, they're going to need some TMAC assistance with a cold storage and assembly line process. TMAC's expensive, and this would be a grant that they'd be able to apply for, partly because they were a graduate of Startup Texas a year and a half ago. But I'm okay. I got an email today about a shower head manufacturer that utilizes some tech that's applying for their cohort in this coming spring. But say they're further advanced than what the cohort needs to be and they need a little bit of assistance this program. If we make the change that you're requesting, they can apply for.
Could we possibly, because we want to get the cohort that's going to be graduating this week to be a part of this. So could we, and with Murad's suggestion, could we approve, but then come back to the board to add additional qualifiers?
We could, but I think we could even add those qualifiers right now, because the cohort that graduates, they're already first in line.
Yeah.
And I can even make it just an internal discussion that the cohort kind of gets first approval, or at least first review, because again, not everyone's going to get that full 10,000. And then beyond that, we're still going to have to vet anyone that did not go through our program, so it's probably going to be more highly scrutinized than anybody else. But I like the idea of opening it up to more than just the cohort. There's a couple businesses, SupplyPay, for instance, is one that was probably a little too far advanced for the program, but still underwent the program anyway for a chance to just practice their pitch, but also potentially get some funding, which they didn't back then.
Yeah, but my idea is open it up for anyone to
Yeah,
apply.
no,
but,
exactly.
But then
I
there is
agree
no
with you.
limit, or like, it's not like only everybody get 10,000, it's more about going back to
Yeah.
a more substantial
Oh, I see.
amount of money that could actually make a difference. But again, you're this far already into the program for this year, right? You're already having a cohort.
We have a cohort that's
You already
graduating.
announced it.
They each have a chance to get 10,000.
So, it's kind of too late now.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with
I'll-
that. I feel like
I'll also add this kind of caveat too. We have been very lucky that, other than William with Embedded that we just discussed, who we were able to claw back about 75, 80% of that grant. We've been very lucky that nobody's defaulted, nobody's kind of fallen out. But what I'm saying is, as we kind of progress with this program, we continue to leave out the chance that, one of these companies that we fund may not kind of exist or survive, and it can kind of blow back on us when they're, say, the first place winner who got $40,000. The way I looked at it is I was lowering our risk when I'm only providing a grant for a specific prototype, as opposed to a full-scale operations, marketing, and advertising plan, staffing and operations. I agree with you. 10,000 is a drop in the bucket. 40,000 is a drop in the bucket. We've had businesses utilize that as a down payment for an even bigger loan, and it's helped them tremendously. But kind of based off our strategic plan, based off some discussions with the board, kind of just narrowing our focus more on the programming specifically, but still wanting to have that seed fund to kind of just push the businesses along a little further.
And we also have leverage of the Alamo Angels.
And that's right. We are kind of shifting away from our focus of, instead of using our sales tax dollars to fund these, that we get them to a point where an angel investment group or even the members of the group can kind of come in at a pre-seed level to assist these businesses. We've got some really great mentors that have come out of Alamo Angels that are assisting these startups, giving them those hard truths. We just had a meeting about 5 weeks ago with an investor who had a checkbook and was willing to write $100,000. The company wasn't ready, but it was a really good kind of shaking moment for the startup that was in question, to kind of get their stuff together to get that $100,000 check from this investor. So I'd rather us pivot that way. I totally empathize. Sorry, what's up?
No, I'm sorry, because I have some questions related to this.
Go for it.
So it's the 2025 guidelines.
Yes.
I'm assuming you offer this opportunity once a year?
This is open the entire fiscal year.
It's open the entire fiscal year. Yeah, I was looking at your application process, and it doesn't have a time, like a date that to submit or a date for review,
it's
because it's revolving. Yeah,
Anytime in the
it's
fiscal
rolling.
year,
Yeah.
September 25th, I'll probably tell them no, but
So it's a calendar year, though.
yeah, fiscal year.
Are you giving them a limit from when they graduate to have access to these funds?
I did not want to do that because I wanted it to be applicable for graduates who maybe even from a year ago, like La Pala, for instance, she wants to use it for TMAC.
I mean, I like Murad's idea. I just, I think it's really, I think
do
it's
too.
better
If-
for 2026.
If I had more money, I would not make it just 10,000. I'd beef it up.
That's why I kind of-
20,000 around the board, but this program is getting bigger and bigger. Our cohort graduating, we're probably going to have more or less about 17 or 18 people graduate by the end of the year with all three cohorts, which is just barely enough with what we have budgeted for this line item. But, you know, we've got a lot more programs.
I think
We
that's
don't
what-
know what the next year is going to look like. We're thankful for GBIC for partnering with us. We're thankful for the EDA grant that we still currently have. We're going to be looking for more money, but I'm just trying to lessen the risks, still offer a little kind of push. I'd love to, in the end, get more partners so that we're not using our money for this. We're using, you know, Musk funds or something. I don't know, but that's
But in theory, can we make those amendments for 2026 guidelines?
You can make them for 2025 right now if you want.
Okay, so we need a motion.
I make a motion to approve the guidelines as is for now, but,
Well, we made our.
sorry.
No, it's okay.
You move faster than my mental
This-
capacity does.
This is the first time we've changed it, right? So maybe by
I think we should
summer-
try this as a pilot first one
Yeah,
year,
exactly.
learn from it, and then expand the program with
Yeah.
those partners that you're talking about after we
I'd
get them on
love to
board.
be giving them more money because I can
Yeah.
tell you,
10,000 doesn't go a long way, we know.
yeah.
I mean, it's great, but
EtherWorks won $40,000,
And it's a line item, we got a
and
budget.
over half of their that budget of the 40,000 went to the first prototype, and they're already in prototype phase 2. So it's really not a lot, especially when they're going to come in, and I'm only
Okay,
going
so
to be
we
able
have
to
a
give.
motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Next
Thank you.
item.
Item 12.
Item 12, consideration and action to approve the following fiscal year 2025 business improvement and growth, BIG, property improvement applications. A, 710 East Fillmore La Estacion LCC, in the amount of $2,650 for facade and $7,300 for interior and MEP improvements for standard rehab.
Okay, so La Estacion LLC is owned by Mr. Victor Peña. This is located at 710 East Fillmore. The end use is going to be a snack stand. The client has owned the building since 2022. Because he heard about our programs and everything, he started wanting to, stop doing catering. Well, not stop doing catering. Additionally, from doing a catering service for a snack shop, he wants to open up a brick and mortar location. The building is 320 square feet. He is looking for assistance at a total of $9,950, $2,650 going to facade, and $7,300 for the interior. That's going to include the washing of the building because there is a lot of graffiti on it, sign installation and wiring, as well as a commercial window for the drive-through portion. And for the interior, it'll be a full restoration of the MEP as well as a platform for the water heater. Like I said, the owner did have the building since 2022. They're looking to activate it within the downtown area. It would create 10 part-time employees. They'll be open 7 days a week from 10:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. Apart from having the drive-through open, they will be also doing catering events.
Doing what?
Catering.
So, the owner's not here, right? Okay, so this is the kind of thing that bugs me, and I know the answer already, but I'm still gonna voice my thoughts. The last thing Brownsville needs is more hot Cheetos being sold on the side of the road. That's easy to get to. I beg your pardon, but we have enormous obesity and diabetes program data to prove what I just said. I'm not saying he shouldn't be able to sell hot Cheetos, but I am saying this organization stands for quality of life as well as economic development. At what point are we allowed to say, this is great as a snack shop, are you also gonna offer some healthy choices? Or what healthy initiatives can you partner with the City of Brownsville or with BCIC to offset the fact that you're gonna sell junk food and hot Cheetos? And again, I can be criticized for saying that, however, it's a reality. So what would you say to that?
I say we work with the applicant in saying, for a requirement of having access to the big grant, we ask for, a percentage of his or her menu to be healthy.
We haven't asked that for any recipients before.
Yeah, wouldn't,
No.
So you don't want to create
It's going to be hard to enforce.
the concern, but the solution is not that. We need to be aware because, you know what I'm saying? Because then now you're creating a precedent.
And it's,
A
and it's not in the
precedent for-
application.
I mean, we
So
haven't
you would
asked
think you would
for it
disclose
from
that from the
previous
get-go.
Recipients, all of these businesses that have received that before, from the big
Yeah.
grant, we never had that specific requirement for say, right?
Perhaps recipients with healthy options are given more funds or
Incentivized.
some other incentive that they can be given. Again, I said at the beginning, I know the answer to this. On the other hand, this organization was founded for quality of life. Do you want to be known to not stand behind that?
And this might be where we're at, but I think what you're speaking to is like the future, like
It's a
whether we
consideration
change
for the
guidelines
future.
or
I'm
whether
not-
we
I'm not
change.
advocating.
Sure, sure.
I'm not saying it should be denied, okay? I'm not
Yeah.
saying that. I'm saying, looking forward, is there a way that this organization can stand behind its mission and incentivize healthier options along with everything else? Because at this point, there's no incentive. He can, and again, I'm sure he's a wonderful person. He has every right to a business. I'm not trying to throw that under the bus. I'm saying, moving forward, this organization should be standing for something in terms of healthy. And that is not just the ability to make money. That's all.
I agree. I just want to comment. I think Dr. Ram brings valid points. Maybe there is a way we can go back to the drawing board and incentivize not just healthy eating, but more gyms, more active type businesses where people can actually go and you know, work out or whatever. And it is a great idea, but it also, you know, we can't limit commerce as well. So it kind of puts us in a tough spot.
Well,
I think we need to go back and,
I think
you know.
one suggestion was, you know, maybe additional incentives. So maybe,
Yeah.
right now it's a 50-50 match, maybe it's a 60-40 and we do the 60. You know, we can look at
Sure.
those things. I like the idea of looking at the sectors
Right.
to encourage more of those growth, especially for
Perhaps if-
downtown.
Or perhaps you build in, well, you know, that you can be a sponsor of food vouchers at the farmer's market for low-income families. I mean, there's lots of ways to contribute to wellness in this community.
Yeah.
I mean, even if,
But at this point, you're not asking them to contribute in any way. And that's food for thought, moving forward, since
It's a
we're
missed
still
opportunity.
supposed to stand for quality of life.
so the ask though is for approval of these amounts,
Yes.
Correct, yes, 9,950 in total.
and you don't have any reasons why we shouldn't? If they meet
I mean,
all-
they check all the,
They-
sorry, but they check all the boxes, right? I
Yeah.
guess the
That's what I'm
question.
looking for reassurance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have what the balance would be year-to-date because we just approved we schedule, so the numbers are a little bit off. But right now, we currently have 624,000 available, and it would just be the request for the 9,950.
Eric, I appreciate everything you do, man, but this particular grant, every time you bring it to us, the budget is not up there. It's not correct. Please catch up.
It's 800,000.
Last time it was wrong.
Yeah, it was,
This time
I
you're
got with
already spending
Lisa.
it, like you already gave it, like, it's not gonna be, please catch up. Like, just bring it up to where it should be, you know, clean it up, and for the next round, when you present to us next time, have it where it's accurate, because since the start of this year, it's always been not matching, you know, the accurate amount.
It's been inaccurate for the times of we scheduled that we've had to.
So I need to make that point, please, right? Every other program has the accurate, up-to-date grant, you know, funds, what's been spent, what's not. I hope, and if there is any issue, you know, have Corey look, I mean, I don't know, have the accountants help you out. Because this is the one grant that we, for the last 3-4 meetings, we never had up-to-date, accurate, you know, balance for it. So-
And Eric, I'm sorry, you said that it was off because of what? I couldn't hear you. I'm
The
sorry.
one that we just approved earlier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So that's what skewed the numbers a little bit.
yes,
Okay.
as far as what's been approved up to now, that's correct. I did get with Lisette as far as the money that was left over from last year, the 837. She did clarify it's 800,000, the 37 went back into the unrestricted.
I, the motion to approve the request.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Next item.
Item 13, consideration
Can we
and
do a-
action. I'm sorry?
Never mind. Can we do a count of the votes?
I'm not going to object to it. I'm more bringing it up for food for thought and hope to see it on the agenda with your solutions next time.
You might want to ask if they're already opposed.
I'm sorry?
You may want to ask if they're already opposed, so that
Oh,
people
well,
can be on the record.
were
if they
there
are.
any opposed? I didn't think there were, but good point. Go ahead.
No, go. No, I mean, look, if it was separated out into facade, I would approve it. That's the only comment, but I'm a nay.
So for item 12, no, it's item 13. Please excuse the typo right there.
13.
So we have two complete applications for the recovery fund. One which is a small business category, which qualifies for $20,000. It's a Corazoncito de Amor Adult Daycare owned by Adriana Velez. It's located at 292 Kings Highway. They currently employ 9 employees, and they had a 56% loss during the pandemic. And then we have the micro business category, which is businesses with 1 to 5 employees. We have Ed's World Class Taekwondo. The owner is Eduardo Arriaga. It's located at 3271 Old Port Isabel, and they have currently 2 employees, and they had 69% of loss during the pandemic, and they qualified for $10,000. So we are requesting your approval for these 2 applications in total of $30,000. Right now, we have a balance of $181,667. If these are approved, we will have a remaining balance of $151,667.
Why do they wait so long to apply for these funds if this is COVID-related?
What, I'm sorry?
Why do these businesses wait so long to apply for these funds if it's COVID-related?
Well, these businesses didn't know this program existed.
Okay.
This is one of the programs I was talking about, that for months, nobody was applying for it. and
That's fine. I just wondered what was the delay?
Yeah, this program has been active since 2021, and it's been ongoing. We've had ups and downs, but we're almost there.
If this balance, just to kind of learn from this discussion, once we exhaust these funds, there's no more funds
There's no
related.
more
Got it,
funds.
understood.
But surprisingly, we were struggling actually awarding, getting applicants, and then she did a very good informative sessions for a few weeks, and voila, things start happening.
Yeah, it takes some time to be able to fund these businesses because not only do we evaluate the application, we send it to City Grants Department, they evaluate it too, and then we're also required an environmental report, which also takes some time. And it's also done by City Grants. But we're almost there.
Good job.
Do we have?
Victoria and Nelson have been doing
I
a really
move.
good job.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next
Victoria,
item?
can I have the? All right, last is the updates. Oh, well, okay.
I got nothing but yes.
It's not there. Okay. Last thing is announcements. Oh,
Yes, sir.
but it's not there.
Wait.
My slide's
Oh,
not there.
here we
That's
go.
what I'm saying.
I can, yeah, this is a point of personal privilege, if you all don't mind, but this last week, a young man from Veterans High School by the name of Edward Killian, Mickey Rodriguez, he was the only player south of San Antonio to make the first team All-State in 6A football. And he happens to be my grandson, so I just want to...
We did send an email out in regards to our sponsorship for the Valley Symphony Orchestra happening this Saturday at TSC Performing Arts, and there's a code BCIC friend to get 15% off tickets. So,
Thank you.
And I would say a word of thanks if you did not have the opportunity to hear the Harvard Jazz a cappella group 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. BCIC helped to fund them quite generously, and one of their singers is Sean Tiong from Brownsville. Another one of their singers grew up in Harlingen.
Yes.
And a third singer's father was from Matamoros and went to St. Joe until sophomore year when they moved to California.
Yeah.
So there was a real
Out of
local connection.
14 kids.
14 kids. They told us that they tour all over the world, and they told us that they had never been treated with such welcoming grace. And they left with huge smiles on their faces. There was a little girl, I have to tell the story because even though it's late, it's a tremendous story. We were at the farmer's market, and they were leaving, and I was trying to run after them to come back to take a picture. And there was a mother with her little girl, who must have been about 9. And the mother pulled on my shirt, and I said, you know what? And she said, in Spanish, my daughter wants to sing. She loves to sing, and she wants to go to Harvard. And she wants to take a picture with them. So I turned around and I asked the group, they could have said no, or they could have kept walking, whatever. They turned around, and then the little girl brings a stuffed animal out of her backpack and gives it to them, and they just embraced her. And I just want to say it was a really lovely event, and kudos to BCIC for helping to fund that. And standing room only at the Camille Playhouse, so thank you very much.
One more announcement, Startup Texas Thursday, 5 o'clock if y'all can make it. We usually also take the judges out for dinner as well. You're more than welcome to participate in that. It's our first EDA cohort, we're really excited. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Move.
Don't forget to let me get Gowan's.
I got her.
Oh, you already got her?
Yeah.
All right.